The penultimate qualifier is upon us. Nürburgring and Hockenheim tonight to decide which 5 drivers will join the main series grid. Desperate times call for desperate measures for some of our drivers after 4 thrilling and unpredictable races. Missed opportunities have been aplenty, but now is crunch time and those opportunities cannot be missed again. Favourites and surprises alike, those 5 spots are open to anyone willing to push the limit that little bit further. 10 drivers already confirmed for the main series after those 2 incredible qualifiers we have already had, and a third tonight and another 2 thrilling races in prospect. As always, Lewis McGlade alongside me is Robert Wiesenmüller, and we go to 2 historic German tracks today. Oh, this is going to be a thriller.
Hello everyone, hello Lewis. Yes indeed, the 2 German classics, Nürburgring and Hockenheim today. And 2 exciting races coming up as always on the GT Masters Esports Championship. Let's just have a short look at the schedule for today. There we go, starting with Nürburgring, we're driving the short layout. Slow chicane and then the shortcut, so we're not seeing the Dunlop corner. Just turn to the right a little bit before, exactly here. There they are on the screen in the background. Before we go to that though, let's just have a look at what happened 2 weeks ago in the previous shootout. And our German colleagues have, put together a little video. We're just going to have a look, just going to watch the best scenes, the top 5 scenes of that race before we get into the qualifying session here.
Undercut, einer bleibt draußen. Guck dir das an, Kevin Siggi, der hat es angetäuscht. Mann, was ist das, ein Fuchs und was haben wir da gerade eben gesehen? Hast du das gesehen? Kevin ist rausgezogen, hat angedeutet, pass auf, ich gehe rein und zieht dann im allerletzten Moment nochmal zurück. Hat sich also damit den Weg freigemacht von diesen BMWs und er wird jetzt lange draußen bleiben.
Ja, das auf jeden Fall und das war richtig clever gelöst von Kevin Siggi. Oh, da gibt es eine leichte Berührung und wen dreht es
auf? Das ist Löhner, den
Moritz Löhner. Moritz Löhner umgedreht und dann dreht es den nächsten raus. Kevin Siggi Rebernack, der guckt jetzt wahrscheinlich etwas verdattert in den Rückspiegel und denkt sich, wo sind die denn alle hin? Riesenlücke nach hinten. Ja, aber jetzt, schön gekreuzt. Ist die Frage, kann er das durchbringen gegen Jesper Eriksson? Beschleunigungsduell jetzt unter Richtung Audi S. Nein. Da hat vielleicht dann doch ein bisschen die Traktion auf der Hinterachse bei Jesper Eriksson geholfen gegen den M6 von Moritz Löhner. Aber ich muss sagen, schon interessant, wie Löhner da hin und her wechseln konnte, um versuchen, die Lücke zu finden gegen Jesper Eriksson. Also über die gesamte Runde hinweg ist, glaube ich, der Deutsche im M6 momentan ein bisschen schneller. Nur, das alte Elend. Du musst erst nach dem Rand fahren, musst erst mal vorbeifahren. Und hier geht es aber gleich weiter munter zur Sache. Im Freeride durch Turn 2 sind die denn verrückt. Jack Kiesli zwischen den Porsche eingeklemmt. Konrad Cerebic, Julian Kunze und Alexander Dorniden. Cerebic ist der Rot-Weiße da hinten dran. Davor, das ist Kunze und dann Dorniden. Und Kiesli muss sich dann doch erstmal geschlagen geben. Muss er doch auf Verteidigungskurs gehen.
Und das hat er schön gesehen, schleicht sich hier ran. Das war ein guter Versuch zu kreuzen, hat den Abstand so groß gelassen, dass er eben mit viel Schwung rausgekommen ist, während Risto Kappet eigentlich nur verteidigen musste. Jetzt Alexander Dornin außenrum, ist gleich in der besseren Position, zumindest Eingang ins S. Kappet hält da ganz hart dagegen. Der sieht das überhaupt nicht ein, seine Punkte hier abzugeben. Kann Dornin das Auto hinten über die Schikane halten? Ja, kann er, aber viel bewundernswerter ist, wie Kappet da die Traktion findet und außenrum ins Beschleunigungsduell geht. Das ist eigentlich fast unmöglich, was er da gerade eben gemacht hat mit dem aggressiven BMW M6. Er hält weiterhin außenrum die Linie jetzt in die letzte Kurve, zieht innen rein, macht die Tür zu und ja, Dorniden sieht erstmal oder guckt ins Hintertürchen.
Wow. That was 2 weeks ago, but this is now. That was some incredible scenes we saw back there, Austria and the Netherlands at Zandvoort. Today, we start with the track that's arguably harder to overtake on, that being the Nürburgring. Of course, the short layout just joined us in qualifying session. And one big note that we did have from that was about the cars. Of course, you pointed this out to me prior to this round, was how the BMW looked pretty good over the last two tracks. Not exactly the favourite for these tracks though, Rob, are they?
No, indeed. There's not a single BMW here, and I guess this is because of the track profiles that we have here. Not a lot of fast corners, a lot of slow corners happens instead. And you can see still a good variety because the Corvette has joined the field here. Tim Jarschel, Florian Hasse, Julian Kunze, and also Mike Stoffmill. So 4 Corvettes on the grid, and that was a surprising choice. But in the practice session that just was over, Tim Jarschel was the fastest out of all of the drivers. Here you can see your favorite drivers. Keithley, of course, on the grid in the Mercedes again, but Nestor Garcia, for example, he took a Porsche.
Yeah, Jack Keithley, the top qualifier, obviously pretty determined this time. He did that top qualification time though in the Porsche, has taken the Mercedes though for the race. The thing is though, he's been in an extremely strong position to qualify in both of the qualifiers that we've had previous. However, things have happened, maybe bowing to pressure, I'm unsure. Questions to be answered nevertheless, and Jack Keithley is still here in the qualification stage. The only Williams driver, the only primary Williams driver yet to qualify. Even his teammate, who was in a monstrous position to qualify, still managed to just pull it off last time. So Jack really needs to step it up and join his teammates on the main grid.
Yeah, the story why he didn't qualify so far was both times the same. It was that he got a drive-through penalty for speeding in the pit lane.
Yeah, mad. Two similar mistakes, but this is the time. This is what we were talking about in that intro, about the missed opportunities, and they cannot be missed again. It is so crucial for these drivers to keep on it and make sure that they take advantage of all of the opportunities they're given. And that's where, I say, only 10 more drivers to join that grid. We're over halfway. And after this, there is only one more. So you want to get it done now. Heads through the tighter version of the NGK chicane. Absolutely throwing it over.
Could have invalidated his lap. It was very close. We'll see when he crosses the line. Final corner. Difficult corner. Jack Keithley. Want to cross the line. Time counts 26.2, but 26.1 by Tim Heinemann. So surprise there.
Yeah, of course, Tim Heinemann, also Tim Jarschel, two extremely quick drivers joining the grid this time. There's a few newer faces on the grid. Gergo Bowdy, another driver who has been in position to qualify, or was close to it rather in the first one. Instant between himself and Erhan Yovsky pushed those two down to I think 6th and 7th on that first qualification day. There is Tim Jarschel in the Corvette, of course. Top of practice prior to qualifying. Looking pretty quick. We've seen a lot out of this young man over the last year or so in RaceRoom. Incredible talent, incredible speed. We'll see if he can get his job done in qualification today. Of course, this is the thing that I'd spoke about before, is as much as we've got rid of like a lot of the stronger drivers, there's still more than 5 drivers on this grid that I'm like, yes, that person, he's going to qualify. And there's always surprises and stuff. It's absolutely impossible to tell who is going to be in that 5.
Yeah, indeed, and you can just see it. There's surprises like Zoltan Suti up to P2, Mike Stoffmill in the Corvette up to P3. So, I don't think many drivers had them on the list.
No,
I'd be pretty good times. Heinemann on personal best. Keithley wasn't on our timing. Let's see, Keithley still improves to P3. Immediately quits back to pits, and Heinemann stays in P6.
Yeah, currently Gergo Bowdy's time being that 25.897. Now, the time in practice prior to this, I think it was a 25.6 from Tim Jarschel, who's currently down in 19th position, not the representative lap time. We saw the end of his lap. There's Julian Kunze's driver profile, the quality of him.
Had a tough season so far, and if we heard the rumors correctly, he can't do the last shootout, so he has to qualify this time if he wants to make it for the full season.
Yeah, no pressure. Distinctly remember him having some pole positions in the early day of the WTCC Esports Championship, including what I believe was one around the Nordschleife, but yeah, here, kind of count. If I recall correctly, that was a long time ago. It was like 3 years ago. But a very, very quick driver is Julian Kunze. But yeah, the pressure mounting on his shoulders, that's a tough ask. And also, as has been pointed out, they've taken a bit of a risk, have Euronics. All of their cars are in that Corvette.
Yeah, but it certainly seems to be paying off so far in the qualifying. The Porsche is very slow at the moment. Like Gassner in P9, the fastest Porsche. We've got the Russian duo Kirill Antonov and his teammate Igor Ogorodnikov representing Lada Sport, Rosneft e-racing team. Ooh, and he goes around there.
Very
Good to
quick
see
on the
them
escape key.
on the grid as well. And then there's another guy who might be one of the favorites here, Erhan Jajowski, one of the fastest drivers on R-Factor 2. Had some good runs on RaceRoom in the first shootout. In the second shootout in the BMW, did not get along with it at all. Jumps up to P6.
Yeah, returning to the Mercedes, which he did so well in that first round. Like you said, just really couldn't get along with that BMW. We had conversations in the previous round how, as much as these cars should all be fairly close for the most part, there are some cars that some drivers really, really do not gel with. Alex Dornadon, a great example of that in the first round, just couldn't gel with, I think he was in the Mercedes in the first round. If I recall
BMW
correctly.
as well.
BMW and then moved to the Porsche.
But the Capital was the other way around.
Yeah.
Okay, we've got one driver who stayed consistent to his car choice. That's Isaac Gillison, who came very close to qualifying last time as well, and then he spun from second place in Zandvoort. Bit of a disappointment for him, but for sure one of the fastest drivers from Project Cars coming over to RaceRoom here. Great to see him trying once again. And I think Keithley's on a good lap.
See what Keithley can do. Currently in that third position, should see him move forward. He really needs to get some good results on the board and start strong here in the Nürburgring. This is a pretty tricky circuit to overtake on, so track position is crucial. That's a good time though, 25.754, a good 10th and a half clear of Gergo Baudi.
Keithley went to pole, Gassner went to fourth, but immediately Heinemann strikes back. And that's Jajowski up to third.
Mercedes top 5 now. So the Corvettes were looking strong earlier on, but now the Mercedes take control. We can see if those Corvettes seem to come back, because obviously we know there's a lot more time in it, especially that of Tim Yarsha. What position he's in now? He's in 8th at the moment, and we know that he can do a time faster than what Keithley's posted at present, with only 7 minutes to go. Doesn't have that much time to stick his home on the board.
Complete Mercedes domination at the front here. That was not the same on the leaderboard. Porsches were at the front there all the time. Someone like Nestor Garcia, he swapped to the Porsche from the Mercedes. So, yeah, a little bit worried probably now when he looks at the timing sheet, but he goes up to third.
There we go. Stops the Mercedes domination and shows what the Porsche can really do. 25.923. Still, we'd expect some faster times, but nevertheless, that's a good confidence booster. Julian Kunze to the line, goes to 12th. Not particularly brilliant. It's obviously very easy for me to say. What can Tim Heinemann do? Is he on the cards to be a qualifier for this? Of course, a GT4 driver in the real life.
He's probably the fastest driver on Hockenheim when we go back to previous results in other championships. Extremely good on the circuit. At the Nürburgring, it's more Jack Keithley's track.
I wonder what would happen between Keithley and Heinemann at the Hockenheim. We've seen sparks between the two of them at that circuit previous. Obviously a good few years ago, mine, but they've pushed each other to the very limit. Let's say that.
Look at Antonov here. First time racing in GT Masters Esports. Not the first time on RaceRoom, because he was the Lada e-racing champion. That's how he got into the team, I believe. He was the Porsche Russia champion, and he was also in the WTCR final, so he's one of the hottest prospects in Russian sim racing for sure. And to be in the top 10 here immediately, that's yeah, just shows his talent.
It is curious to see how there's always areas and pockets and stuff in sim racing. I wonder if it's just because you stick close to your countrymen of some description. But you tend to see certain countries have drivers that go quickly. You don't have like too many of, like, say for example, like Erhan Jajowski, who's from Macedonia, the only like Macedonian sim racer that I know, incredibly fast. mine. You tend to have like a lot of Germans, a lot of Brits that are all kind of around the same kind of pace. A lot like Hungarians as well. The amount of Hungarians that are quick in sim racing is ridiculous. And so it's nice to see like some Russian sim racers and stuff come forward and sort of show their ability.
Spaniards also quite strong in this shootout. David Peña and also Christian Kwiatniewski alongside Nestor Garcia, who's been driving in the other shootouts.
Yeah, don't be too surprised with Kwiatniewski's name being a Spaniard and all that. It didn't throw me off at all. Currently in 18th position, riding on board with Nestor Garcia, fellow countryman, going very quick in that first sector, coming up towards that second sector split before we hit the chicane. Heavy on the brakes. Still looking good.
Method here, not quite ideal, but pretty good.
Yeah, I think he took a bit too much of that first curve, threw the car off a little bit. That's going to be a little bit of a struggle, bit of traffic up ahead, but might just give it no. Didn't fancy that one.
The Porsche seems to be faster in the first sector through the Mercedes arena, out of all places.
That's not the ideal brand situation, is it?
But I'm still surprised by the Euronics choice with the Corvette, because Mike Stoffmehl still the fastest Corvette out here. And only 3 minutes left on the timer.
Must be said, he has done a fantastic job to get into 6th position at the moment. Regardless of what car he's in, that is an incredible time. But the idea that he's in potentially not the favoured vehicle and beating a pretty decent team, being Euronics, that is an impressive ability that he's got for that Corvette at the moment. Clearly gelling with it well.
And you have to remember last season, Euronics Gaming won every single race. They didn't win the championship because Moritz Löhner was so consistent. They won every single race, and right now they only have one single driver qualified for the season, Andre Santos. Disqualifying, it's not getting more likely.
No, like we said, with Julian Kunze, it's his last attempt to qualify, as he's not here for the final qualifying round. He's down in 14th at the moment. We look at Tim Yarshall, decent first sector, but maybe a bit too much traffic up ahead. It's going to be pretty tricky to concentrate through. Only 2 minutes to go, so this is it for him. It's going to be too. Yeah, I think it will be too tight when he gets back around. Oh no, he might be all right.
See if he gets a draft here. One of the Iron Force Porsches. Oh yeah.
Hold your breath through the chicane. Did that cost him any time? He seemed to get by just right there. I don't know which Porsche that was. Out of the final corner, currently in 11th position, Euronics Gaming going to be holding their breath towards the line for Tim Yarshall. That is the pole. That is the pole by a tiny margin, 0.08 of a second. Mike Stoffmehl goes up to 3rd position as well. Here's Erhan Jovski out of the final corner. It's all coming to life at the final part of this qualifying session. This is the final laps for these drivers now. Erhan Jovski to the line, doesn't improve, stays 6th place, which is still a very good qualifier.
Oh, now it counts. Now Heinemann's sector time. It's not compared to fellow Mercedes, it's compared to a Corvette, so you don't really know. This might even be a better lap from Heinemann there, but look at the gap between Yarshall and Keithley, just 0.08.
Yeah, impressive time. What a lap, and what a time to pull it out from Tim Yarshall. Almost too late to respond from a lot of these drivers. It's not looking good for Tim Heinemann. I think that's his lap done as well. He's currently in 8th position, unless he puts together the most incredible final sector you've ever seen, which I wouldn't put it past him. Comes out of Coca-Cola towards the line. In 8th at the moment. Is he going to improve? No. Stays 8th.
Checking
Not
with
on a
Keithley.
time.
I don't think he will improve either. There we go. Tim Yarshall. Pole position, unless something changes here in the last 7 seconds, but I don't think Keithley will even get over the line. Yarshall on pole, Keithley second, and Stoffmehl and Baldi. What a second row. Garcia, Jajowski, Suti, Heinemann, Gassner, Antonov, Kunze, Hasse, and then Page, Pinches, and Vermont, rounding out the top 15, and of course the top 15 score points here.
Yeah, that's going to be so crucial, of course, before we head to that final round. of the evening at the Hockenheim. We're ready to go for the race then. Again, 40 minutes this race, 1 pit stop required. That'll be in the middle portion of that race. And that pit stop could prove very, very crucial to track position because this track is hard to overtake at. Rob, that was an incredible qualifying session. I don't know who's going to come out on top in this one.
Oh, it will be a tough one because we haven't really seen the Corvette in the racing situations. We don't know how it behaves. Keithley and Yarshall at the front, that's two of the strongest drivers, of course, based on the history here at RaceRoom. That's great to see. So we are in for an exciting race, especially with Heinemann not too far behind. Heinemann and Keithley, if they get close to each other, we can see some action.
Indeed. And now, with only 10 seconds to go until that race, we haven't seen that Corvette in racing situation at the front until now. The lights will be on and we will be underway for the first race of the evening. Tim Yarshall on pole position with Jack Keithley with so much pressure on his shoulders alongside. We are underway here at the Nürburgring. It's a better launch from Jack Keithley as Néstor Garcia has come all the way up to first position. We knew that Porsche was good for the start. I didn't think it was going to be that good. Leading and comfortably into turn
4
1,
wide.
3 wide. Wow, yeah, 4 wide in fact. In the background, that's Erhan Yovsky in the middle, pinching Mike Stoffmehl to the inside as we head through the Mercedes Arena section. Jack Keithley on the back of Néstor Garcia heading out of that section incredibly close. Look at this battle pack in the middle here. You've got Mike Stoffmehl just trying to hang on from another Mercedes. I believe that's Zoltan Suti as well, a bit around him. I don't know how to call that pack. That's absolutely manic in the centre there. 3 wide, all over the place. But at the front of the field, after an incredible launch, Néstor Garcia is leading Jack Keithley, Rob.
What a start from Garcia. Makes the most out of the Porsche once again. And what a bad start from Tim Yarshall, who's down to 6th position.
Yeah, I don't quite know how he's got it that wrong. Maybe just bogged down a little bit on the start, just didn't get going anywhere. This man, though, did. We knew that Porsche was good on its start. We've seen it plenty of times. Look at that in the background. That's Tim Yarshall, Mark Stoffmehl going side by side. There's a bit of contact. Whoa.
Almost cleans up Suti there. And Suti is the first of the black cars. It's not Baldi, it's not Heinemann, it's Suti, but there's Heinemann on the inside. 3 wide once again.
Oh, it's so close to that inside wall. That's Mike Stoffmehl getting pushed out of the way as Tim Heinemann, we know he can be a bit aggressive, now gets 2 positions for the price of 1 after going 3 wide. Down the inside of Coca-Cola and now towards the first corner. Mike Stoffmehl getting aggressive on the back of Tim Yarshall directly behind. We look back towards that. He's going to get past Zoltan Suti as Tim Heinemann looking down the inside as they're back in the background. That's Gergo Baldi trying to get past Mike Stoffmehl as well.
Oh, Stoffmehl on the inside here. Contact there. Oh, Stoffmehl's around.
That's a shame. That's a shame. Into the arena section, Stoffmehl gets sponged, a little bit pinched, I think. Touch of contact, nothing malicious about it, but just how it goes sometimes, unfortunately. Now drops down towards the back of the pack after an extremely good qualifying. Up towards the front then, Tim Heinemann in that 5th position. Look at the back of Zoltan Suti in that black Mercedes. And of course that Corvette, that pole sitter Tim Yarshall directly behind. Now he's got to deal with Gergo Baldi. In the further background, Julian Kunze, 12th position. That's not good.
That's not good enough. Under pressure by Pinches, who had a pretty bad start as well. It's by Roumont, who was nowhere in qualifying.
Yeah, Julian Kunze really needs to step it up if he's going to qualify today. Oh, it's actually listen. That's a shame. Another one drops down to the back. It is a hard track to overtake at and can become a bit of a pressure cooker. Of course, with a lot of some of the concertina that you get at some of these corners, running the short layout of the circuit. That's lap 2 done. Ticked it off and over the line. Néstor Garcia continues to lead. That AMG, though, slipstreaming its way. Jack Keithley, we know he can be aggressive in the moves, but does he have to apply a different head to this race? We've seen too many mistakes from Keithley over the last couple of qualifiers. This is one that he needs to be absolutely
Yarshall versus Heinemann, wow.
Oh, there's contact between the two. That's Yarshall punted. That'll get looked at, I'm sure.
Heinemann already on 1 strike in the season. Did Yarshall rejoin there without taking someone else out? That was close, but everyone's still going.
Yeah, I don't really know how to look at that one. Tim Yarshall was trying to hold it around the outside. I don't know if Heinemann came off the line. It's a bit hard to tell from that angle, but we've seen some...
Could have come across as well.
Exactly, could have been anything.
So no blame placed by us, but of course something that the stewards will look at after the race.
Yeah, they looked fairly busy after the last qualifier. The first one they seemed to right on. The last one they looked a little bit busy, but this time I'm sure that'll get looked at. Unfortunately, that's the highest placed Corvette dropped down. Now Florian Haas becomes the highest placed Corvette in 7th position.
Yeah, we lost 2 of the top Corvettes now with Stoffmüller and Jarschel here. Jarschel can still recover, of course, but P18, that's pretty bad news.
It's going to be hard work. Riding on board with Haniyovsky, staring at the back of Jack Keighley. Now, I've had the pleasure of commentating on Haniyovsky quite a lot over the last few months. I know he can be a little bit aggressive, but also a very, very well calculated driver. One whose ability only matched by his brain. He knows what he's doing and knows when to push and when not to. Gergo Bowdy down the inside of Tim Heinemann. That was a good move. These two of RaceRoom's best. Gergo Bowdy moving up a position fairly cleanly against the German driver.
Oh, Heinemann clipped the grass there. That might allow Hasse through. Oh. Trying to create his own gap there.
We know Heinemann can be aggressive. We've seen it plenty of times. But he's learning how to apply that right kind of aggression. Like the just on the line, there's a little bit of a rub, a bit more of a rub. Gergo Bowdy, he's used to dealing with it. He's a touring car driver, it's fine. But wow, these two will push each other to their very limits. And when they do, Florian Haase may just be biding his time, may just be waiting. But can he wait that long? Mark Gassner directly behind as well.
And it's surprising to see Heinemann dropping off the pace so early here. Seems to struggle a little bit on the pace. Ooh, late on the braking.
We didn't overcook it. He hooked that up really well, actually. I should hold my tongue when I'm speaking of Tim Heinemann's driving ability. Oh, I don't even know what's going on back here. Rudiger getting passed by Kwiatkowski on the inside of Coca-Cola after a potential mistake at the final corner. Oof. Everyone trying to pick up the slipstream. It's not blocking, it's just breaking the slipstream, it's fine. I think that's Tim Jarschel just trying to work his way back up the order.
Ooh, look at Page there. So a very late dive and almost spins around in the hairpin.
Yeah, maybe a touch too late. Now drops down to 15th position behind the likes of Kwiatkowski and Rudiger. And Jarschel.
Oh, Jarschel!
Oh!
That was Leon Rüdiger there. Let's spin around.
Yeah, I think some of these drivers need to apply a bit more patience.
And they have to remember. Ooh, that's Pavlovsky there in the middle of everything.
Lots of contact, lots of contact. Pavlovsky just getting mullered in the middle there, and now trying to apply that same level of pressure elsewhere. Ooh, we'll focus back on the front. This is the thing though, with this kind of pressure...
Oh, Garcia almost loses it here.
Yeah, very close. Now, Jack Keighley trying to take advantage of that. Nope, not quite yet. The thing is, with them trying to sort of push this limit in the middle of the pack, it's just going to cost them more and more time. At that point, as soon as that pit window opens, you might as well take it because you'll be in clean air. And that's going to be so crucial. Of course, that pit window will be opening very, very soon. Whoa, Jack Keighley down the inside, late dive. I don't think it's going to quite work on Nesta Garcia. They're going to be side by side, leaving that first corner. He's now got the outside, heading into the Mercedes Arena section. We know that Porsche is very strong. He's gone for the cutback back down the inside, and we know Jack Keighley's late on his brakes. He's going to be late, super late on the brakes. There's going to be contact between the two. Oh, wow, I think Jack Keighley's actually done this. He's going to have the best drive off the corner, and Jack Keighley is taking the lead here at the Nürburgring.
Tough move by Keighley, and Jajowski immediately trying to benefit as well.
He really went for a cheeky dive on the exit of there, and it just that drive from the outside of that final corner of the Mercedes Arena section is so good. The inside just didn't really work. You don't get that angle off the corner. Well calculated move by Keighley, and now up into the lead, and oh boy, does he need it.
Let's see if he can check out. Mercedes not usually so good on the tires, but it seems like so far it's going well for Keighley. He can brake a bit later here, but he has to watch in the rearview mirror.
Yeah, Haniyovsky will maybe see Keighley get away and think, I've got to get on the back of him. And it's now his time. He can see that pack behind Shootout, Baldi as well, directly behind this. They're only about a second gap. The top three did build a gap in the early phase of the race, but that will come down should this lot battle. Oh, that's late on the brakes. Maybe too late. Maybe Nesta Garcia feeling a little bit pressured by the Mercedes at the moment. Top Porsche by quite a mile.
To finish my earlier point about drivers overdoing it here a little bit, we have of course a strike system in place. So when you pick up 3 strikes, you get banned for the next shootout. And of course Heinemann is already sitting on 1 strike, so is Jajowski, I think. So some of the drivers have to watch out here. And I mean, in a very hard case, 1 collision can be enough to pick up the 3 strikes. That's something really outrageous, so drivers have to think for the long run here, of course.
Yeah, I remember Jajowski picked up a strike for the incident with himself and Gogo Bowdy on the exit of pit lane back at Oschersleben. That was where that strike came. I think Erhan held his hands up and was like, "Look, that was my fault." So no doubt, there was no malice of any description. It was just one of those things. Gogo Bowdy, ooh, Mirror Esports, both cars into pit lane. That was pretty late.
And so is Florian Hasse.
Mirror, isn't he?
Both from the Mira team. Of course, David Notch already qualified for the season, and you can see the leader staying out, Heinemann staying out, Gassner, Roman, and Antonov as well.
Yeah, important to note, the as you can see on the leaderboard just appeared, the red marker, as we always say, red marker means that they've not stopped yet. It will go green once they've completed their stop and left the pit lane. Important to note, I say some of these drivers potentially trying to get out of traffic, and that is going to be crucial around here. It's such a hard track to overtake at here. We've got Luciano Badin. This is Eamon Murphy. Murphy usually took the Audi, has now taken the Mercedes, as we have no Audis out on the grid.
Yeah, it's a bit of a surprise. Audi should have been pretty good here on these 2 circuits, but has the overheating rear tires issue, and a lot of drivers are still having faith in the car. Let's see how they came out of the pit. Suti still ahead of Baldi and Hasse. Actually pulled a little bit of a gap on Baldi. And that's David Pena ahead of him, who hasn't been to the pits.
Yeah, a lot further down the grid, trying to breach their way back into the top 20. But important to note that 10 of the drivers have stopped in that phase very quickly. Jack Keighley trying to cover that off. Erhan Jajowski is going to stay out as well. That's important to note. Nesta Garcia does come into the pit lane. Wonder who's going to come in behind this. So Erhan Jajowski going to go on to lead. We've got no Risto Caput here to stay out much longer than anyone else and take the lead randomly.
Seems like everyone else is staying out though. Interesting move there. Shout out to Simone Prete, who's once again having great race pace.
Yeah, could he make it work? Move his way up the order. As we saw last time out, realistically, you only need to have one very, very good race, which is what we saw from a couple of drivers. Most notably, Moritz Lerner didn't score a single point after retirement through contact between himself and this man, Jack Keighley. Pushed him out of the points, didn't score a point, retired from the race. Second race, though, came in, got a second position, and qualified for the event.
Look how much Suti has gained on Garcia.
Indeed. I think that might put Schuti ahead of Erhan Jajowski when Jajowski eventually comes in, considering that gap, how much has come down. Because it's not just come down to Garcia, it's also come down a decent amount to Jack Keighley as well. You can see that white one in the foreground there. Ooh, this could get very interesting. The 2 Hungarians coming out. We couldn't see another pit lane thing between Jajowski and Gogo Bowdy again, could we? Surely not.
I think so, yeah.
They're going to be pretty close. Jajowski in.
Who was the Formula 1 driver who managed to absolutely smash into someone at Bahrain in the pit lane exit?
Oh, Maldonado and Gutierrez.
Yeah, I think you have to do something like this here.
Yeah. We'll see if we can get anyone flipped.
And yeah, with the first drive-through, Keighley didn't get one. And Heinemann leads the race now, but Heinemann's getting caught by Gassner.
Keighley's doing considerably better than his previous qualifier then, if he's not got a drive-through yet. Actually, to be fair, he got drive-throughs, both of them, in the second race, didn't he? So yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
Answering a question of the chat, they can change 2 tires. They don't have to change 4 tires, and we believe that most drivers change only 2 tires here. Let's see where Jajowski comes out.
Yeah, you
Sultan
can see
Suti that we're watching. Where's Jajowski? Oh, he's ahead of Garcia.
Good pit stop. was going to say I was expecting him to come out with Schuty and Baldi, but no, he's come out ahead of Nestor Garcia and now sets his sights on Jack Heathley. Fantastic stop from the AAA boys. Of course, he's been a busy man recently. He's got to prepare for a big old 1,000-mile race tomorrow. Has been running around a lot in sim racing, jumping between all this lot, but today his focus remains on this and trying to get ahead of a Williams Esports driver. That is a fun fact, isn't it? Jack Heathley and Florian Haase share the honour for holding the most race wins in the ADAC GT Masters, with 4 each. Pretty good for Florian Haase, considering he only took his first win last year.
Yeah, but it's not looking so good for Haase right now.
No. He was a driver that I was expecting to have, to be honest, to have qualified by now. We know how good he is in these cars.
Just a few more questions from the chat. Moritz Löhner already qualified, and the icon on the positions tower shows if the driver has already made the pit stop or not. Green circle means pit stop is done. That means it still needs to come in the pit window, which is between 30 and 10 minutes. And Baldi has gone past Sultan Suti here.
Indeed, maybe a team call. I did wonder this before that pit stop. I mean, I doubt it was a team call. It's just a drive-through. A drive-through? That's what's just popped up. A dive of certain description. The thing is, though, between those two, I did think that Gergo was looking a lot quicker before the stop, and I'm surprised they brought both of them in at the same time.
It's not like in real racing where they have to share the same pit crew here.
No.
So it was possible to do that, but a lot of drivers say it's the best strategy to come in very early, because then the grip difference between the two axes, between the tires at the front and the rear, doesn't get too big. And it's interesting what Heinemann, where he will come out and what his pace will be after the pit stop. Because he's going for a different strategy here. He's doing the 50-50, it seems like. It's one of the few drivers.
The thing is, though, is if Tim Heinemann was to pit, he'd come out among everyone else in this sense, whereas going longer at the moment is leaving him with clean air. Whether he's quicker or not, I don't think he is quicker. Actually, I don't know what his last time was, but yeah, whether he's quick or not, like he's trying to basically just make something work in clean air, rather than coming out in the mid-pack of everyone else. And that's where things start to struggle, is when you come out among everyone else, or when you're battling with everyone else. That's why it's important, especially around here, to pit early. I don't think you'll see as many people pit early next time, because you can actually race at the Hockenheim ring, whereas here it's a lot harder. Like, for example, Erhan Jofsky, if he wants to get by Jack Heathley, he's got a lot of work, a lot of elbow grease to put into this race if he wants to be able to pass the Englishman. Or maybe he'll just settle for 20 points and a decent start to proceedings. Remember, it is the top 5 drivers that will go through after this. Obviously, the top 5 between the two races, points scored. 20 points is a very, very handy margin to have on the board already. And the thing is you don't need to be the number 1, you don't need to be the number 2, just somewhere in the top 5. Doesn't matter even if you're 5th, as long as you're, the tiebreakers for the second race. But we'll go through that when we get there. Don't worry.
That's in the pits. And Jofsky's keeping the gap pretty consistent to Keithley here. He's not dropping off the pace. Garcia is dropping off a little bit.
Maybe the pair of them are sort of either running at the same pace just in general on the limit, or maybe they're just conserving tyres that little bit more to make sure they can get to the end of the race comfortably. There's Mark Gassner out of the pits.
It's not too far back. That's Florian Hasse there and ahead of Romain. So probably we would expect Heinemann to come out just behind Hasse. So more or less at the same place where he was before. Just losing one position there. And of course he has at least one axis of much better tires at the end of the race. So maybe it's going to pay out.
And yeah, as much as overtaking might be difficult here, if there's one person who can definitely do it, it is Tim Heinemann. He'll roll his sleeves up and get to it in that second half of the race. We're approaching the halfway point, and is that the point that Tim Heinemann's going to decide to jump down pit road? Zrebiak, another one that's not stopped, as well as Mike Stoffmeer with that early spin. Of course, qualified in 3rd position, now running in 2nd. Unfortunately, not a position that he's actually going to hold towards the end of the race. We look at Florian Haase closing in, I believe, on the back of Zoltan Suti.
As far as we can tell, he's the third fastest car on track at the moment, behind Kifli and Jajowski. That's looking good. That's Romain putting the pressure on Gassner. Heinemann is in the pits.
I did wonder if he was going to split the race 50-50 and come down now. We'll see where he comes out in relation to the field. Coming out of the pit lane now. And in the foreground, there goes Florian Haase. So comes out in 9th position. And like you said, just comes out behind Haase. But now with fresh rubber on one of the axles, we're not sure front or rear. But certainly on one of them, he's got some better tyres. You would assume around here. Rears, maybe?
Well, Kifli changed the rears. You can see the way his car was lifted up in the pit lane. So usually it's most drivers changing the rears. Doesn't mean that everyone has to do the same thing. Oh, that's a Porsche spun around. That's Pawlowski there. Can't jump to his car as he's losing positions. Oh! And around he goes again.
Is that contact again that spun him around with Vega?
Yeah, I think Vega couldn't avoid him there, as he just got going when Vega came around the corner. Tough debut for Kamil Pawlowski on his first RaceRoom race.
Yeah, a new world for the driver to accompany himself with. Mike Stoffmehl in the pit lane. Wonder if Konrad Zerebiak is going to follow him. I think he is. Oof, Alexander Vermont now really applying the pressure. Camera on the front of that Mercedes going to get some good views of the sponsorship on the rear of that Porsche from that distance between the two of them. Very, very close. Going to be able to dive it down the inside of T1. I think maybe Alexander Vermont would look, the Frenchman, just too far back, surely. Indeed, he is.
Porsche is very difficult to overtake. Kifli has proven that it works, so.
Vermont, one of 3 AAA Esports drivers in this. There's 2 in this one. Obviously, Risto Capet already qualified. Nurhan Yovsky, the guy running in second, being the other one. So some decent drivers in their ranks. Mike Stoffmehl comes out in 13th place. To be fair, that's a pretty healthy recovery.
Yeah, good recovery from him. Yarshel in 11th, behind Kunze. And a couple of drivers lost out in the pit stop. Simone Crater was one of them. Down to P23 now.
I wonder if there's been another mistake on Simone Prater's part, because he was running decently hard and now going to get dived by Isaac Juleson. Oh, bit of contact between the two. Going to try and push him around there. Nearly, that was very close, but lifted out of it. Well, maybe not so much.
Also moved by Juleson there. He won for the stewards as well. Oh, Prater is looking there.
That would have been a bold move. Oh, Isaac Julison's thing's gone. He wasn't in that shot, maybe, at the end of that.
Oh yeah, he just disconnected.
Yeah, I thought he did. We've seen some connection issues from the Dutchman throughout the previous 2, and now it's another one. Off he goes. Mike Stoffmehl now 12th position. And that's Kryatnevsky directly behind. That Porsche going to be very good on those brakes. We'll see how these race, because obviously this is the important thing. You can see there's a Mercedes as well behind. We'll see the 3 cars that we've got in action today battling it out. We've not really seen that Corvette in major combat thus far through the ADAC GT Masters. These 2 have pulled out 3 seconds on Nestor Garcia, by the way.
Fastest lap so far from Erhan Jajowski, 26.257. It's very fast.
Can he get by though? AAA Esports versus Williams Esports. Trying to join the main ranks. Absolutely lobbing it over the curves there, Hanyanovsky. Jack Heathley's going to be a particularly difficult man to pass, let's be honest, especially considering the previous 2 qualifiers that he's had.
Yeah, and they are pulling a gap on Nestor Garcia here. Seems like the Porsche hasn't been the right choice after all for the race here. Mercedes reigning supreme so far.
Indeed. But who's going to reign on their parade, Rob? That's the question. There are some other cars battling among them, but yeah, like you say, it's pretty much a Mercedes affair. Tim Yarshall gets passed by teammate. Tim Yarshall passes teammate Julian Kunze. That's what I was trying to say, because Julian Kunze was originally in 10th position, now drops down to 11th. Got a bit of work to do to get to the back of his next teammate, Florian Haase, a few cars up the road and a decent handful of seconds. But only a few cars ahead is the man who spun him, Tim Heinemann.
And Heinemann's getting caught by Gassner. And a similar strategy, so I'm surprised by that.
It is curious to see Tim Heinemann struggling with Titus badly. Of course, we saw Tim Yarshall's spin and stuff. Tim Yarshall's recapturing the back of it. I don't know if he's a man on a mission or whatnot, but he's not that far behind Tim Heinemann. See the battle a bit further down the order. Adam Pinches, a Williams Esports driver, driving for their second team.
Oh, and that's Skrzydniewski around.
Pushed it a little bit too far, I think, there on the brakes. Rears locked up, spun around. Maybe just a little bit too quick in the corner.
Looked like side-by-side contact as well with Pinches. Tough one to call. Skrzydniewski out of the points now.
Costly mistake.
We have to jump to the leaders.
Only 3/10 separating the pair of them over the previous lap. Haniowski, a man well adapted to applying pressure. More of an endurance racer, but certainly doing some decent stuff there in some GTs. Applying as much pressure as he can. Alexander Vermont trying to get by Mark Gassner. Pinching it down the inside, getting a little bit of contact. I believe he's going to be through at the hairpin potentially. He's got to make it stick around the outside, but that's really not going to work. Goes for the cutback, and it's going to have to go for a cutback again onto the back straight. I don't think that one's going to quite work. That Porsche going to get a great drive off the corner as we head down towards Ad Van Bogen and then up towards the NGK chicane. But Vermont may go for a lunge inside or outside though. He's going to have to pick the outside considering that trajectory. He goes back down the inside, back to the outside. Alexander Vermont's late on the brakes, going to try and go all the way round. That's a track cut, surely.
And he's letting Gassner back through there.
Yeah, has to.
Back to the leaders. Keithley has to defend now for the first time here in the first corner against Jajowski.
So close, the pair of them. Battle for the lead. First race of the day.
Haase up into the top 5.
By Zoltan Ciuti. Florian Haase using some great race pace to knock up quite a few points onto the board, which he needs if he wants to qualify. Now in one of those positions, of course, that top 5. Once again, a reminder to you all, the top 5 qualify. Florian Haase now moves back into those positions. Got a bit of work to do though to catch the back of Gergo Baldi and Nestor Garcia, but potentially, considering his experience in this car, he's definitely been looking after his tyres. Might work out for him. They've picked this car for a reason, Euronics Gaming.
Baldi himself is catching up to Garcia here.
Yeah, Garcia's really struggling in that Porsche. He's now 3.5 seconds off the leading duo.
And Skrzydniewski has crashed.
Round again. Now going to drop back to 25th. That was Vega going by. Again on the grid as well, Carol Vega doing a very good job, must be said. I know he's obviously down in 24th position, which isn't so great, but Vega, one of the more experienced drivers on the grid. Experience is a nice way of putting it. You can work out what I mean by that. Oh, down the inside. Whoa, that was Alexander Vermont, Mark Gassner. Bit of contact between the two of them at turn 1. And that's Tim Yarshall directly behind as well. Wow, these two getting very feisty. Oh my. Caught that at the right point, Rob.
Yeah, Vermont moving up the order. And, oh, that's aggressive from Yarshall there.
That was a lunge, let's say that. one of those moves that is a 50-50 move. Sometimes it pays off, sometimes it doesn't. That time, not so much. Mark Gassner lucky not to be hit hard enough to be spun. The thing is with Yarshall is that he knows he doesn't really have that much pressure from behind, because Kunze behind is his teammate, so may just be like, look, you get through, then I'll get through, then you get through, then I'll get through. Like, let's work together here. Because whilst defending, you can't really defend and attack at the same time. That's what we saw from Jack Keeplin when he hit his teammate at Austria. All going to go around the outside. Oh, no, not quite going to work at NGK, but he's going to get a great drive off the corner. He's going to go down the inside of Coca-Cola. He's close enough to take a look. Decided best not to. Going to try and hook the apex up late and get a good run off the corner, but I think Mark Gassner's got the better run of the trio. Look at that, decent gap pulled already.
He was just having a little look there. The first corner.
It's tight between them. That final spot on the podium, but Gogo Baldi's surely got to get by pretty soon, because Florian Haase will be getting closer and closer. Currently 1.8 seconds off the back of Gogo Baldi is Florian Haase. I expect that gap to come down at a decent rate over the next 9.5 minutes. Not long to go in this race. Half an hour down. Pit window is closed, as much as it's all kind of all just paperwork. That, but still, it's an apt point. Everyone had already stopped anyway. Where's Gogo going to find his opportunity on that Porsche? It is a hard car to overtake. It's good on the brakes, it's good off the corners. Just waiting for that right opportunity. Trying to distract him as much as he can. Gogo Baldi's so experienced in sim racing. He's been racing for a lot longer than most. I'm not trying to say he's an old man or anything like that, but he's not. Just very, very experienced in a multitude of categories. And now in GT, he's trying to find his way past and onto the podium. Nestor Garcia. That's Mark Gassner trying to get by Alexander Vermont and defend from Tim Yarshall, who's just not able to get by the Porsche driver. But Tim Yarshall looking pretty quick. 10 points on the board. 10th position, so that's 6 points on the board. Maybe not what he would have expected from pole position, but he didn't have a very good launch to the race either. Dropped down to 6th position on that first lap, did Tim Yarshall from that pole. We know that car's got pace there, and we'll see if he can deliver a bit more at Hockenheim in the race. And I think getting into the top 5 might be a little bit of a challenge, but we saw it. Safe from Moritz Lerner. Did score a single point in that first race last time out. Did score 20 in that second race, and it was enough to qualify.
Yeah, definitely still all chances. If you win the second race, then you're almost guaranteed a spot. Mathematically, it's possible that you don't qualify, but it's still very likely that you will make it. And drivers like Baldi, like Keithley, they just need 2 good races, and then they will make it. That was the interesting story last time out, that almost no one had 2 good races. It was just Dorneden, Ericsson, and Siggy who had 2 good races, and I guess Capet was also starting. Both Capet and Ericsson started the race outside of the top 20 in this event, and they still made it. That was kind of a strange one, with Chihan's pit stop, with another drive through from Keithley, yeah. Heinemann and Romont crashed with pinches, Kunze disconnected in the first race, so a lot of things happened there.
Yeah, it really, really did. It was an exciting couple of rounds, but I think the point of it is to not give up. Just because you've had a bad first race, because the first race just hasn't quite gone the way you wanted it to, it's not an excuse to be like, no, I'm out. I'm not doing this anymore. Because you can still pull back enough. You just need that good second race. Like you say, if you win that second race, it is possible for you to not qualify. But considering that it's the tie-break is the second race. And the likes of that, it's also 25 points. To put 2 results together, that's 25 points. You have to get a 4th and a 4th, and that's 26. Right? Like, it's actually quite difficult to score 25 points outside of winning. Or you just do what Kuba Brzezinski did and win both races, and then just say goodbye.
Yeah, just have 50 points, and
yeah,
it's easy.
Yeah, exactly.
Eamon Murphy here on the screen. He was part of the full season last time out. But it's not looking very likely that he will repeat that this year.
Not exactly looked top 5 worthy, respectfully so. Don't want to take anything away from him. He's been a quality driver over the qualifiers that we've had, but just hasn't looked able to put on those results. That was nearly a bit of a lunge on 17th place Zerabiak, who started from last position, I think.
Let's just go through the point scorers at the moment. Page here in P15, the last one to get a point. And Martin Barner with the nice comeback to the GT Masters Esports, P14. Pinches ahead of him. Pinches, that's P13, that's not good enough. He's also one of the drivers who could potentially make it for full season. Just based on his prior results on RaceRoom. Stoffmill 12, good recovery. Kunze 11th, and Kunze not as fast as the other Corvettes here, it seems. Both Yarshel and Stoffmill have been off. We have to jump to Baldi though, because he's very close to Garcia again.
Coming up towards NGK, trying the outside. I don't think it's going to quite work, but he's definitely applying that pressure. Going to go for the cutback, and just nothing's quite there for him, but go Baldi. Nestor Garcia has done a good job to hold on to this much pressure. Gets a good drive off Coca-Cola as well. I think that's been his saving grace. Good drives off of the corner and heavy on the brakes. Seems to just about keep him ahead of that Mercedes. I'm surprised Florian Haas's not actually caught up to these two.
Alright, Gassner has lost the position to Yarshel there. Picked off some dust there in the background.
Ooh, that was late on the brakes, nearly. Nearly hit the back of Tim Yarshel. Up to 9th position now.
The race is on now for the lead though.
What does Yovsky do? 4 minutes to go in this race. Erhan Yovsky with every opportunity ahead of him to take a victory, to take 25 points as opposed to 20. I'm sure he is calculating this all in his head. He won't take a move unless he knows it will work.
We've seen from Keithley throughout these shootouts here so far that he's not driving the most calculated. He's still taking risks, even if he doesn't have to. So I'm not sure in Yayovsky's position if he should really go for it here.
I would say, and like, this is just from experience of commentating on Yayovsky, I don't think Yayovsky will go for a move. If Keithley makes a mistake and Yayovsky is there, then obviously he will go. But I don't think Yayovsky will push. Like he'll try and push him into a mistake, but I don't think he'll push for a move. We'll see coming down towards turn 1. He's looking again, just trying to make a mistake, but I don't really see it. But then again, I can also see a mistake from Jack Keithley, so you never know. Of course, a driver of many abilities, but like you say, he always pushes that limit maybe a little bit too far. Jack Keithley is an example of a driver that drives with his heart, not his head, and Erhan Yovsky is almost the exact opposite of that. And no matter what, these two drivers are two drivers at the very top of their field.
Yeah.
And
how little time it took Yayovsky to adapt to RaceRoom. That's impressive.
Yeah, moving into that sort of category, the likes of like Kevin Siggy and drivers like even Kuba Brzezinski, Nikodem Wisniewski, who take part in multiple championships across all different simulators, and they're quick in all of them. So joining that very rare group.
I'm a bit surprised that Baldi didn't try anything against Garcia yet.
I think
that's not so comfortable.
Yeah, I just think that the Mercedes against that Porsche is just so hard to make a move because that Porsche is so good off corners. We're riding aboard looking backwards. There's 2 laps to go in this race. Yovsky again getting close, trying to go around the outside.
Oh, we've seen this work.
He's going for it. He's absolutely going to be pushed off the road though by Jack Keithley. He was there though. He was pushing it. That was a good attempt from Erhan Yovsky.
And Keithley, of course, not leaving him any room there.
Oh, why would he? He didn't need to. Contact between Stoffmehl and that's Julian Kunze moving down another position and now becomes maybe the deservedly placed 4th Corvette. He's not looked as quick as his fellow Mark drivers. Ooh. How much pressure is on this man's shoulders after the 2 qualifiers that he's had? He needs to do it today. If he doesn't do it today, there's going to be so much pressure in the final round, and I think he would crack. He's got to do this today. There'll be one more lap after this one, and that's a good drive off of Coca-Cola for Jack Keithley in the slipstream. Erhan Yovsky, the top 2, leading the field over 5 seconds clear. Monstrous drive from the pair. Erhan Yovsky's looking down the inside. He's going to try and commit to the outside again, maybe go for a cut back into the arena section. Maybe going to look down the inside, feel committed to it, going to try and hold a later apex, maybe carry some more speed through the corners. Is he going to go for a dive down the inside? Doesn't really seem like his profile. He's going to try and go around the outside though. Jack Keithley's there, covers it off, and manages to hang on.
Hasn't given up yet.
Yovsky is trying to push Jack Keithley into a mistake wherever he can. He'll give it a look into the final couple of corners. Whether he'll commit to it though is a different story. These 2 well clear of the rest of the field, but the more they battle, the more they cost time. Although it's a matter of conversation rather than anything else, because the rest of the field's so far back on these 2. They've been so dominant today past that pit stop. Yovsky has shown some incredible speed in that second stint, now slipstreaming up to the back. He's far too far back going into the NGK chicane. Heads through it one last time, throwing it over the curbs. He's also, he's going to be way too far back from Coca-Cola, so unless there's a mistake from Jack Keithley, it's all said and done. And after 2 qualifiers that have not gone to plan for the Williams Esports driver, they come out of that final corner, and Jack Keithley is going to be victorious here at the Nürburgring, ahead of Erhan Yovsky, Nestor Garcia, Gogo Baudi and Florian Haase, your top 5. Fantastic work from Jack Keithley to hang on to all of that pressure that the Macedonian driver Erhan Yovsky was dishing out. Same too to Nestor Garcia with the pressure dealt by Gogo Baudi. You can see Tim Yarshall there, pole sitter, spun out, recovered to 9th position. Great drive from him as well. Same with Mike Stoffmehl, recovering to 11th position. Pajic rounding out your point scorers. Rob, what is Hockenheim going to do after a race like that?
Yeah, it will be close for sure. You can see Yovsky already disconnected there from the server. Let's hope that the results count him, as it's recommended to stay on the server and not quit immediately. He's got confirmation. He is still counted, so all good for him.
Tim Yarshall, fastest lap of the race. 26.245, so really pushing hard on that recovery. Good race from Jack Keithley. That's kind of what he needed. Now he just needs to get through the next one without a drive-through penalty, because that'll be absolutely crucial. You don't want a repeat of what happened 2 weeks ago. And that's whilst we head through into Hockenheim. Who's going to come out on top there? We'll have to wait and see. At the moment, though, things might seem a little bit calm for some of those drivers. That race might have seemed a little bit more tame for some of them. Rob, I don't know. Maybe it's a bit more exciting for others.
Yeah, I think it was a good race. We all knew it would be very hard to overtake here, but overall, I think it didn't disappoint. So Hockenheim will be even better because you can actually pass there.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure we'll see some good overtakes. Speaking of which, I think we've got a video to show from a couple of weeks ago. Of course, we saw the highlights earlier, but I think now we can take a look at some of those best overtakes. I'm sure we all know which one's going to be number one, let's be honest. But there were some great overtakes last time. This is what we're gonna feel for Hockenheim. Let's take a look.
muss. Also, das
wird
ist
eine knappe
Capet. Da kommt Alexander Dorniden, das ist Jack Keithley. Also, Florian Hasse sortiert sich da direkt wieder ein, muss jetzt aber mal ganz schnell den Windschatten finden und ich bin gespannt, setzt er zum Angriff an oder muss er nach hinten gucken? Hinter ihm ist jetzt erstmal Jack Keithley, vor ihm Gergobaldi.
Ja, aber den Keithley scheint er hinter sich halten zu können, macht da innen komplett dicht, zieht nochmal ein Stück rüber und Florian Hasse kommt auf P6 wieder raus. Tim Heinemann immer noch im Battle mit den Polen, hinten dreht es Pinches weg. Adam Pinches in gerade Position gewonnen. Oh, uiuiuiui.
Und Heinemann hat das so gut gemacht, er ist in der vorletzten Kurve eng rangefahren, hat versucht, Konrad Zeberitsch in eine Position zu bringen, wo er eben ein bisschen weniger Schwung mitnimmt als Heinemann. Er hat sich dann Meter für Meter an die letzte Kurve rangearbeitet, ist dann eigentlich ein bisschen zu früh aufs Gas gegangen. Also das muss man sagen, da ist er ein bisschen zu früh aufs Gas gegangen, hat dann nochmal Zeberitsch am Heck getroffen. Nichtsdestotrotz ist er wieder ein Schrittchen weiter nach vorne gekommen, also jetzt P7. Oh, Undercut, einer bleibt draußen. Guck dir das an, Kevin Siggi, der hat es angetäuscht. Mann, was ist das, ein Fuchs und was haben wir da gerade eben gesehen? Hast du das gesehen? Kevin ist rausgezogen, hat angedeutet, pass auf, ich gehe rein und zieht dann im allerletzten Moment nochmal zurück. Hat sich also damit den Weg freigemacht von diesen BMWs und der wird jetzt lange draußen bleiben.
Ja, das auf jeden Fall und das war richtig clever gelöst von Kevin Siggi. Und hier geht es aber gleich weiter munter zur Sache. Im Free Wild durch Turn 2 sind die denn verrückt. Jack Keithley zwischen den Porsche eingeklemmt. Konrad Zerebic, Julian Kunze und Alexander Dorniden. Zerebic ist der Rot-Weiße da hinten dran. Davor, das ist Kunze und dann Dorniden. Und Keithley muss sich dann doch erstmal geschlagen geben. Muss er doch auf Verteidigungskurs gehen.
Und das hat er schön gesehen, schleicht sich hier ran. Das war ein guter Versuch zu kreuzen, hat den Abstand so groß gelassen, dass er eben mit viel Schwung rausgekommen ist, während Risto Capet eigentlich nur verteidigen musste. Jetzt Alexander Dorniden außenrum, ist gleich in der besseren Position, zumindest Eingang ins S. Capet hält da ganz hart dagegen. Der sieht das überhaupt nicht ein, seine Punkte hier abzugeben. Kann Dorniden das Auto hinten über die Schikane halten? Ja, kann er, aber viel bewundernswerter ist, wie Capet da die Traktion findet und außenrum ins Beschleunigungsduell geht. Das ist eigentlich fast unmöglich, was er da gerade eben gemacht hat mit dem aggressiven der BMW M6. Er hält weiterhin außenrum die Linie, jetzt in die letzte Kurve, zieht innen rein, macht die Tür zu und ja, Dorniden sieht erstmal oder guckt ins Hintertürchen.
Yeah, I don't think anyone was particularly shocked for that number one choice. What incredible racing between two of Sim Racing's best, Alex Dorniden, Risto Capet. Some extremely good side-by-side action there, and I'm sure we're going to get some decent stuff here. Of course, you can see now we're loaded in to the Hockenheim ring for the second race of the day. Of course, how the format works once again, we have a championship format effectively per evening. You can see there the event previous, Nürburgring and Hockenheim ahead, 25 points for the victory, and then it's 20, 16, 13, 11, and then all the way down to 1 from that point on, spreading out the top 15. Top scorer, obviously the round winner, as it were, and then the top 5 are those that move through into the main series grid. This is the third qualifier. We have one more. There you can see the 10 drivers already confirmed. Brzezinski, Wisniewski, Noj, Banki, Santos, Dorniden, Siggy, Eriksson, Capet and Lerner. That top 10. A couple of surprise names in there. For me, Jesper Eriksson and Andre Santos. Two incredibly good drivers. Maybe a bit of a surprise to be joining that grid. Risto Capet's a little bit of a shock. Not shock, that's probably the wrong word. I didn't think he was going to qualify that quickly. I thought he was going to come in either the third or the fourth round. Needless to say, he did get in, and there is your point scores. That's wrong.
Ones.
That's the old one. Never mind. I was going to say, has someone scored 41 points already? That's not true. Ignore that. But either way, the race, we do know that Jack Keithley has 25 points. Anyway, we'll get that standings to you in just a second. Don't worry. We've got a qualifier though here. Before we get to the same format, 40-minute race, pit stop in the middle, The only difference is around a circuit like this, you can really attack, really overtake, and of course, certain cars that worked so well last time may not work quite as well. I think the Porsche might be pretty strong around here with its drive off the corners and its heavy braking into that hairpin. Should come off very, very well. See a little bit of racing here in practice already. 6 minutes to go in this one before we get to that qualifier. Of course, Tim Yarshall, the pole sitter last time, had a terrible start to the race, to be honest, and then started building his way back up. Got spun, built his way back up again. So he's getting used to overtaking at the moment. Is Tim Yarshall getting used to this Corvette, the one that the Euronics have taken across the board, all of them in those Corvettes. See how they work around this circuit. It could be very important. The thing is, we've noticed from the previous few rounds is taking a good car for that second round is vastly more important than the first, to be honest, because you can sort of do a bit of damage repair if needed. There we have the provisional standings. Jack Keithley, Johan Jovski, Nestor Garcia, Gergo Baldi and Florian Haase. Those 5 drivers in the top 5 spots, scoring that positions 1 through 5. Of course, that has a lot of time to change. We've got some drivers outside of that you'd maybe suspect should be within it. Reminder, Julian Kunze, it's his last time to qualify. He won't be able to make the 4th shootout. There he is. Not able to make the next shootout. So this is his last option. And to be honest, P12 in the last race, not ideal.
No, certainly not ideal. Tough task for Kunze. Tough task for Yarshall as well to qualify this time. It's the first time that he showed up this season, so he left it pretty late.
He certainly did, but you never know. Maybe he's still good money. I mean, Tim Yarshall, we know he's a quality driver. Whether he can come out on top around this circuit, the Corvette's the one that I'm never really sure about. Like we know the advantages to all the other cars. We know the advantages to this, but finding out like how strong it is in the end, it's more of like an all-rounder. It's kind of good in some aspects, not so great in others, but seems to be like pretty average across the board, and it seems to be working out for Euronics, at least on paper. Top of the free practice prior to Nürburgring, pole position at Nürburgring, and to be fair, fastest lap, and looked very, very strong throughout that race to Tim Yarshall, aside from that spin. Seemed to be able to overtake in it as well. The only difference is that Julian Kunze did not take to it quite as well as his young German teammate. And
there's Keithley. We're expecting Keithley to be topping the timesheets here as well. He's done it 38.4 in the practice before the event. Once again, on the second track, we can see some bigger differences because that's the track that not everyone might have practiced as much. But Hockenheim is kind of the standard track on RaceRoom, so most people should know it.
yeah, it was my point earlier in the broadcast when we opened, is that a track like this, a track that, let's be honest, most of the grid should have driven on quite a lot over the last few years. There aren't excuses for a track like this. Maybe when we when we did Oschersleben and all that, maybe I've not really seen the circuit and I've not really raced here, and even with Zandvoort, like maybe I've not really raced here too much. This one though, I think a lot of people have at least driven the circuit a decent amount, even through RaceRoom itself or across any multitude of simulator or even just arcade game. It appears in any sort of these simcade games like all that. Like, it appears in most of these kind of games. So it's a track that I'm sure a lot of people have done a healthy amount of laps on.
Keithley and Yarshall, sorry to interrupt you, but Keithley and Yarshall at exactly the same time.
Indeed. 38.751. What's a good time around here, Rob?
38.4 is the fastest that I've seen. The track has got a little bit of a more dirty surface now compared to the past. In the past we could see 37s on this track, but now it's kinda slippery here. So 38.4 is the best that I've seen. And I believe with 38.4 you would take pole.
Well, that'll be the goal then, I'm sure. And kicking off a practice session with a 38.7 is pretty handy.
And Murphy on your screen, the Irish driver. Still not in his pink Audi, but it's not going much better in the Mercedes for him either.
Yeah, it's not right seeing him. He's not been in that pink Audi. It always looked good in that. But you know, nevertheless, a Mercedes this time by, currently in 7th position, which seems good, but still it's a fair way off the pace of what we'd expect. There's Kunze, a lot of work to do, but seeming pretty good in that second sector run.
Yeah. I think in the final sector you lose a little bit to the Mercedes because there's so many tighter corners, but not really like real hairpins. Just corners where you can carry some speed through, especially the final corner, very difficult. So in the middle sector with the long straight and with the hairpin, the Corvette should be really good. And the hairpin, of course, the Porsche is the best car, but the Corvette has the highest top speed from all of the cars that are in this race.
With only 4 points on the board, Julian Kunze really needs a good result here. Potentially, even in requirement of a race victory. The German driver, speaking of German drivers, Tim Heinemann out of the final corner. This is not qualifying, by the way. It does say at the top, it is practice, don't panic. But Tim Heinemann goes to 4th position after a not-so-great first sector. Jack Keighley still top of the board in the Mercedes, though. It's Mercedes, Corvette, Porsche at the top. So we're not seeing that Mercedes dominance thus far here at Hockenheim.
Oh, it should be a little bit less. Only 29 cars, so someone has dropped off the serve. And let's see if we see the usual race out of the pit lane here.
Of course we will, Rob. You know how this works. Everyone flies out of pit lane almost immediately. Desperate for that track position. It's a bit of it's a longer circuit, this one, naturally, than Nürburgring's short layout. So there's a bit more space to play with in qualifying. So no excuses to get balked by traffic here. A few drivers staying in the pit lane. Go Bowdy. I think Julian Kunze is another one. Mike Stoffmill, all kind of just staying in pit lane, just hanging on, just a little while. As everyone charges down to the hairpin for that first time.
He has not waited.
He really needs to make sure that he gets a decent second race on the board. He doesn't have to win this race.
Is that Heinemann in front of Keighley?
It certainly is. That's a man he wants to stay away from. That is a man he wants to stay away from in this race. Those two, for those of you who don't know, who haven't watched RaceRoom too much over the last few years, not so much in the recent past, I think. Like they've been more okay recently, particularly 17 and 18. These two were at each other's throats.
I still remember the event we had in Frankfurt last year, though. And they didn't like crash when it mattered, but practice session. Anyone gaining a place there? Practice session of the first track, first corner. Keighley spins Heinemann around.
Good one. Let's hope
Heinemann clips the curb here on the first corner on the inside. Usually, most people avoid that, and that's the place where you get most laps invalidated.
I think this one's invalidated then, Rob.
Let's see, maybe get it invalidated mostly on the outside. After you clip it on the inside, you run too wide. Heinemann might have just kept it in. Yeah, he's getting a split time.
Very close though. Very close indeed. Coming down towards the hairpin. We're going to see a lot of overtaking into this. We have over any multitude of race, be it sim racing, real world motorsport. That's overcooked the hairpin though. That's a little bit overly done. But we'll see a lot of overtaking in there through the race. Good few moves into this section as well, into the arena.
Always so much commitment, Heinemann style. Entering the corners very fast compared to other drivers.
Yeah, I like watching that qualifying sessions. It's just mad.
Of course, you can challenge the ghosts of other drivers on the time attack competition, and that's how you can get a little bit faster and also see how impressive these laps are of these drivers. Heinemann Messes it up. Let's see if Keithley is getting blocked by that. And Heinemann, for me, is the driver who's the easiest to follow. Because he's driving also fast into the corners. Keithley, completely different driving style. Always very slow on the entry. Barner, first one to set a time. All faster than Heinemann. Antonov, let's see Keithley. 38.7. Good lap.
A great session, great lap to start the session.
Great lap by Murphy as well.
Yeah, 7.87 for Eamon Murphy. That Mercedes may be working out for him a bit better than we'd anticipated. Mark Gassner coming through the final corner.
Should lose a little bit in the final sector, but still almost 2 tenths up after the second one, so it could be pole. Oh, it's only 6.
Richard Schaefer in a Porsche. That's a weird statement for me to say, but he's in 5th position as well. Payet, Tim Yarshall moves up into 2nd position, slots that gap between Eamon Murphy and Jack Keithley. Not a very big gap, but he did manage to slot it. But yeah, that's what you were saying about the time attack, Ghost. That's always how I used to get quicker, was by following you. Florian Haas up to 5th.
Hoffman up to 6th. One look at the final sector from Keithley. That's where the Mercedes shines, and
Julian Kunz is 7th.
and Yarshall and Keithley are both purple.
We'll keep our eye on Jack Keithley, heading up towards Mobile 1. Under the bridge through the 2nd sector split, still looking very, very strong. Looks at the curve on the inside through Mobile 1 towards the Sachs curve. Tricky
different
corner this
driving
one.
style to Tim Heinemann.
Picking up that late apex through the chicane, absolutely pinned on the throttle, trying to get it all the way over to the left-hand side before flicking it through this very, very awkward double right-hander. Uses the curb on the exit, and on the exit there as well.
That was
Pins it towards the line. It's very, very nice final sector there. 6.71. Nice time. Speaking of which, I think he's going to lose out a bit too much through this middle sector though. There's a problem with the Corvette, is like you say, it's not so great in this final sector. It's through the hairpin and through this bit. I think it's just a bit too lazy on the front end. It just doesn't really stick in. You also see how much he didn't use the curb on the exit through that midpoint, as Jack Keithley did. Towards the line for Tim Yarshall though. What's he going to do? Stays 2nd, but does improve to a 7.01.
Time. Yeah, Eamon Murphy still in P3 here. Only he had gotten some points at the Nürburgring.
Yeah, indeed. We're talking about Eamon Murphy as a potential qualifier. Though, that said, if he takes the Mercedes next time, when we do the double at the Saxon ring, as Julian Kunze moves up to the 4th position, does he need that? But yeah, Eamon Murphy could be, you don't know, a bit of a potential qualifier when we head to that double at Saxon ring. Gerger Bowdy looking good in the 1st sector.
Heinemann's purple as well, but I think Heinemann almost lost it there, just right in front of him. Oh, and Baldi as well. Just checking on Heinemann briefly. Yeah, he is the car ahead.
Nestor Garcia goes to 3rd.
It's again the best Porsche by quite a gap.
Yeah, next one's Payet in 9th place at the moment. I think Richard Schaefer might be regretting his move to Porsche. Maybe see him back in a Mercedes we have so often over his tenure in RaceRoom.
Heinemann and Baldi lost a lot of time in the middle sector. They're both not very smooth in the hairpin. Heinemann actually lost less. Let's stay with him.
Ooh, very, very wide. Too wide, I think. Just did not get that front end in at all. There we go. Bit of a showmanship final corner. That one didn't work, did it?
Well, that didn't work at all. Let's see Baldi. First time lap. 13 only.
Not good. Good 1st sector. For Martin Barner here. Another Hungarian on the grid. Slings it through that extremely fast kink. This is like my favourite complex on this circuit. I just absolutely love the flow of this bit. It's tricky, but it's good. Especially for racing, you can actually get a lot of really good racing out of it. I know it looks narrow, it looks tight, but you can go side by side for quite a bit through it, up towards that 2nd sector split.
Oh, that's a good time.
It's a good time. We'll expect him to drop off a little bit more in that 3rd sector, but still, it's a good opener for the first 2 sectors. A little bit of smoke up ahead.
The best happen, but still good. Could be like top 10. Wrong page. Maybe a bit further ahead even. Didn't quite time it right. But it was still good. Will be an improvement for sure. P9.
Nice time. Nice time indeed. At the moment, it is still Jack Keithley on pole position as he starts another lap. Yeah, he did improve a 5.70.
Let's check with the drivers from the previous race that performed well there, where they are at the moment. Heinemann is last. Oh, Mironovic up to P8.
Good time for Tomasz. Kirill Antonov to 16th. Another improver. And yeah,
P17. There's Suti. P19 only. That's a P7, that's alright, but...
Is that Suti directly behind Baldi?
I think it is.
Those two definitely need to get a good time on the board. Of course, they did very well last time at the Nürburgring. Not looking very strong with all the pressure in this final 5 minutes. They need that good lap.
And look at Heinemann once again.
He's going to lose a decent amount of time from that. I'd say at least a good solid 3 or 4 tenths from
and
going
he's
that
7th
wide.
overall, so he can qualify. Even if he gets a solid race here, doesn't have to go on pole. Doesn't have to win it, but if he starts 30th, it's almost guaranteed that it's over for him. Still good time though.
I don't even understand how. See if that car can be absolutely glued to the road in this final sector.
Most successful driver on Hockenheim, on RaceRoom history, Tim Heinemann.
Hold your breath.
Turns so much.
Looks good.
Looks good, yeah.
Looks good. Currently in 30th position. Needs to improve desperately. Goes to second. 5.78. Jack Keithley improved again in that, by the way.
Oh, and we have the dream top 3 here if you want to see action. Keithley, Heinemann and Yarschel.
A Heinemann Keithley front row. Oh, I have waited for this. Oh, goodness. If there is someone that can stop Keithley from qualifying, it's Heinemann.
Yeah, but Yarschel and Heinemann was the same thing. Yarschel passed Heinemann with the no respect move next corner. Didn't see the reason, okay, but still, Yarschel is around. And Yarschel and Keithley, if anyone has followed the Avia competition about 1 year ago, then you know that there's been some crashes as well.
It's it should be an interesting race with those three starting up front. Of course, we've still got a few minutes left of this qualifying session for someone to throw it in the mix. Speaking of that, the man we're looking at, Nestor Garcia, good first sector, good second sector. He's going to lose a bit in this third, but it could be good enough to slam himself on the front row. Who was that he moved up towards?
Gassner.
6th position? Yeah, Mark Gassner.
Yeah, Joski only in 8th now, while he's still in 20th.
Gergo Baldi was 4th place for Mira Esports at the Nürburgring. Needs to move his way forward. Erhan Jovski, that guy in 8th position, was 2nd last time out. So still 8th is a decent point score for him. Will potentially be good enough to qualify. Nestor Garcia stayed 4th. Porsche struggles in that final sector. Here's Richard Schaefer. It's so weird seeing him in the Porsche. Stay 17th. Of course, with 2 minutes to go, for a lot of these drivers, it will be their last lap. What can they get on the board? Can they move any further forward? Jovski's first sector is decent. I remember, like, if he gets within 2/10 of Keithley, that's 3rd.
Yeah, the gaps are bigger here than on the other tracks.
A little bit too much curve. I think they're on the inside for Jovski. flings it through the right-hander onto this this middling bit where the second sector split is. Gergo Baldi finally gets some time on the board and goes to 6th. Moves Yoski down to 9th. Not really the best second sector. Could that first race be good enough though to the 20 points for Yoski? I mean, we have no idea how this race is going to unfold, especially with that trio up front. Oh,
Getting out of the way there. I think that's Antonov. P7 for Yoski. And that brings Hasse only to P13 now. Pinches has jumped in, Gillison has jumped in. He's under pressure now. And he won't get another lap in.
Florian Hasse, 5th in the last race. Now going to have to start this one from 13th, potentially lower if anyone else goes quicker. Not what he wanted. But definitely a driver who can move his way forward in the race. Although I'm curious as to how that Corvette's going to be on the start, because let's be honest, it was pretty bad at the Nürburgring. That Porsche of Nestor Garcia, he started in 5th position as far as I remember, was leading into turn 1. Don't think it's going to quite work out as well with such a short run between the start line and turn 1 this time though. Good quali for Tim Yarshall again. P1, now P3. Needs a good result on the board. Currently in 9th position in the standings. Bogorodnikov down in 21st position rather. And there's our provisional standings as it stands at the moment. I think Gazner's... I don't think anyone's going to be able to get around.
No,
and so
Gazner's
Jack
not able
Keithley.
to go around.
Keithley on pole from Heinemann and Yarshall. Oh, Rob.
And Eamon Murphy, surprise of the qualifying, P5. Baldi good recovery, Suti. That's bad news for him this qualifying session.
Reminder of what happened last time out, and the points up for grabs. Your top 5 are the ones qualifying. At the moment, that goes to Keithley, Yoski, Garcia, Baldi and Haase. A few of those drivers, though, have a lot of work to do, most notably Haase, who's down in 13th position for the second race. Rob, who's going to come out on top in this one?
Tough one to call. I think Keithley should drive conservative here. He can let Heinemann win. Doesn't matter to him if he finishes second or third, he will still qualify. But I don't think that's what we are going to see. I think we will see full action from the top 3 here.
That's the thing with Keithley, is a driver using his brain, maybe like, nope, do you know what? I don't need to fight Heinemann. He's not really in this with me. I can qualify as long as I finish in this kind of position. Not the driver that Keithley is. Lights will be on, and we are going to see an absolute cracker here in Hockenheim. Keithley, Heinemann, front row. Here we go for the third qualifier. Who is going to come out on top? We are underway, and it is a much better launch from Jack Keithley. He's going to lead into turn 1. Nestor Garcia does get up into 3rd position and clears Tim Yarshall. Also has made a decent start, as is Eamon Murphy. Erhaniovski's now in 6th position as well. This is down in the battle pack where they're going 2 wide, 4 wide now, up towards turn 2. Going to be going down the inside. There's going to be a little bit of a touch, a little bit of contact there. No one spinning out though. Fantastic stuff. There's Erhaniovski in the foreground. Look at this though. Jack Keithley, Tim Heinemann going down to the hairpin for the first go. We've seen Heinemann be late on the brakes, so very late on the brakes in qualifying. Maybe it didn't work out from there. Is it going to work out for him now? Who's going to come out on top? Jack Keithley down the inside. I think he's going to have the better run. Oh, it's going to be so close. A little bit of a near touch between the two of them.
Now Heinemann has to run.
But he's going to have the outside into Mercedes. I think that's just going to be not really the best track position. We lose them behind the hoardings there. Oh, Tim Yarshall's going to make contact with Tim Heinemann as he's trying to go around the outside of Nestor Garcia. Jack Keithley does manage to hang on from Tim Heinemann. And Nestor Garcia is going to get muscled down into 4th position. A great move from Tim Heinemann. From Tim Yarshall, the other Tim.
I used Heinemann's car a little bit as a brake there, helping him getting stopped for the corner.
Brave.
He's up to 3rd. Still Garcia on course to qualify, of course, with his 4th position as well. And Murphy holding on to 5th, pinches up to 6th.
Oh, well, we saw those two race for a little bit without any major heart attack. It was pretty close, but nevertheless, the top 3 then. Keithley, Heinemann, Yarshall. As it was on the start, Nestor Garcia did make a move, but then has dropped back, courtesy of Heinemann being used as a brake. That's a high-risk manoeuvre, because if he spun Heinemann out, that's a penalty.
Yeah, of course, and he's been involved in some action in the first race already. And here we can see the slipstreaming, of course, once again. And with Yarschel's Corvette there, that would be really interesting.
Yeah, we know that Corvette's very quick in a straight line, but the Mercedes run from turn 2 through 3 and onto the Parabolica may just be good enough to hang on. We'll see. Slipstream being picked up by Tim Heinemann. Going to look down the inside, you can see that Corvette's just not quite close enough. It doesn't get the good drive off of 2 that it really, really needs. It's certainly not going to get a good drive off the hairpin. Oh, who's that up in the background? Here we see Florian Haase
This
and
was
Mark
Baldi, I
Gassner.
think. Baldi down to P13.
Yeah, Haas has made good progress up to 9th at the moment from 13th position. Now going to go down the inside of Mark Gassner into Mercedes and up into 8th position. There's been a contact. That was close. Very close. Behind Isaac Gillison, the one directly behind. You've also got Alexander Vermont trying to get down the inside of him into Mobile 1 up towards the Sachs curve, pushes him off the road. And Isaac Gillison having to do a bit of rally cross. Wrong weekend for that, I'm afraid.
Let's hope that his suspension survived this.
Yeah,
Can break your suspension if you go through the gravel here.
Pretty rough stuff, the gravel traps, and being punished for going through them, as to be honest, you should be. Currently leading the way, Jack Keithley. His heart must have been going on that first lap, but naturally didn't want to hand anything over to Tim Heinemann, and why would he? Leading the way, doing what his teammate did 4 weeks ago now, when Kuba Brzezinski took both race victories. He really needs to show something of that kind of power as well in that first position. Whether he's going to be able to hang on, though, we saw Tim Heinemann in the first race go longer than most of the drivers. Went to the exact halfway point of the race. I think we're going to see some drivers go a little bit further. Credit. Oh, who's that spun? Was that Vermont?
I was definitely Schaefer involved, and it was Vermont.
It was Vermont. Yeah. Yeah, Vermont down to 21st position. I thought it was Jajowski at first viewing. And now Schaefer trying to go around the outside. 3 wide. That's an ambitious lunge down the inside from Simone Prater.
And Rudinger was spun, immediately quit the race afterwards.
So Jajowski sitting on the back of Pinches, Murphy, Nestor Garcia. I'm sure Jajowski will be sitting here a little bit patiently. He might come into the pit lane early as he can to try and jump this trio, provided they don't pit as well. I think he'll do exactly the opposite of whatever they do to try and gain some track position on them, because passing may be a little bit tricky. We see them head through turn 1 again. Eamon Murphy doing a very, very good job. Now with one of the Williams Gym Esports cars directly behind, who's going to make a little bit of a contact, a bit of a half spin there. Ooh, manages to catch hold of it. Nestor Garcia getting a little bit of a free ticket away from the trio behind. That's going to drop them back towards Florian Haase as well. Riding on board with Erhan Jajowski. He's going to go down the inside, surely give it a lunge into... No, going to try and pick the outside. Why not go a bit later on the break, see if anything can happen? Or just let them...
Way too early there.
I think he was just letting them battle it out. No risk. I don't think he needs to risk it at the moment in 7th position. I think 7th is it's 9 points what he's getting, so we'll leave with 29, which should be good enough. But then again, I know that he won't settle for 7th position. I'm just saying, like, he's probably doing the numbers and thinking from this position there's no need to risk at the moment. Julian Kunze only 10th, and I am afraid to say it, but I think from 10th position he's got a mountain to climb, and I think his time in the ADAC GT Masters of 2020 may be over realistically before it's even properly begun. We'll see if he can make any... Ooh! Tim Yarschel, Tim Heinemann, that was close. Second last corner, we're close again at the final corner.
Just a brief update on the standings here. Provisionally, Keithley 50 points, easy through. Then 29 points for Jajowski, Garcia and Heinemann. And 23 points for Yarschel. Hasse out on 19, Baldi out on 17.
I'd say Florian Haase, though, is going to be making a bit more progress, so he's definitely the one that might join that top 5. Tim Yarshall, though, eager to get by Tim Heinemann, and rightfully so. He's the one in that 5th spot, and desperately needs to make up a couple more points should he wish to qualify, and I don't think Tim Heinemann's going to be handing over the goods that easily, good sir. In the slipstream, down to the hairpin, heavy on the brakes. Tim Yarshall looks down the inside. Tim Heinemann covers through the braking zone. A risky move. Manages to make it stick. Good drive off the corner from the Corvette. Just a weird Mercedes-shaped object directly in his way, though. And not able to pass him. Once again, looking down the inside. Oh, there's a bit of contact.
Big contact there.
That was a fairly chunky bit of contact. This is allowing Jack Keighley, by the way, to absolutely run away in the distance, now nearly 2 seconds clear. Looking to stream away for his 2nd consecutive victory in the ADAC GT Masters. Isaac Gillison been spun around in Mercedes.
Oh, and that's Kunzorf as well. Must have crashed there. Promotes Baldi to 10th. Where are these cars going there? Prater and Antonov taking a wild line.
Bit manic here. This is going to take a while to recover after this. Oh my goodness me. Look at this man, though, running away. His main rival in RaceRoom, directly behind, has managed to break away from the most successful man at this circuit. And is now making this race his own. One thing he must do when he comes down pit lane, though, is not speed. He's had 2 drive-through penalties for speeding in the last 2 qualifiers in the 2nd race. Cannot make that mistake for a 3rd consecutive time. Tim Yarshall remaining behind Tim Heinemann at present. Is he going to stay there, though? He is mightily aggressive. That's too late on the brake. Surely he's going to miss the corner. Oh, he didn't. He didn't miss the corner.
Oh, Heinemann forces him off the road there.
That's not good. That was not a good bit of driving. I mean, that
certainly a dive from Yarshall, but certainly a response from Heinemann as well. But we have seen Yarshall make contact with Heinemann a few times here, and I think the tension is rising here in both cockpits.
I think it will continue to rise before something major happens. The thing is, though, again, we've said about the strikes. You have 3 strikes that you can use. I say use in air quotes. That's not really how it's supposed to work, but you have 3 strikes. If you get 3 strikes, you miss the next qualifier. It is as simple as that.
One left.
Exactly. So if you get 3 strikes, that's it. Your time is done. And Tim Heinemann, with a move like that, maybe looking to pick one up. And he's already got one on there. I know at the moment he is in touching distance of qualifying with 29 points on the board, but those can all be taken away. Has to be careful, can't push it that far to the limit. The pit window, as an FYI, as you can see by the red markers appearing, is open. A few drivers jumping down pit lane. I see Julian Kunze is one of them to keep noted. Florian Haase as well jumped down pit road. Quite a few drivers jumping down pit lane. I think Florian Haase is the top of the lot. And now leaves it. He's going to get a green box by his name. As to Gergo Baldi as well. Back up towards this incredible battle between Tim Yarshall, Tim Heinemann, and the closing pack of Garcia, Murphy, Pinches and Yayovsky behind. The thing is, the more these lot battle, the more they cost themselves time. It could be a good game for the likes of Florian Haase. Now pitted, come out in clean air, and should this lot battle, should this lot cost themselves time, he was on the back end of Yayovsky. Could be a pretty healthy gain. I'd suggest Yayovsky might be entering the pit lane come the end of this lap.
Yeah, he's getting held up a bit by Pinches there and Murphy. And could be a good strategy call from Haase and Baldi. Pit early.
I think it could be a very good call, yeah.
Seems like they're all holding each other a little bit up here, except for Keithley. Heinemann comes in. Keithley's still out, yes he is. Let's check with Yayovsky, he's coming in.
That's not a surprise. It's also not a surprise to see Keithley staying out. He's just got clean air, might as well just use it. Look at how much time Yayovsky made up to Heinemann on pit lane entry there.
Yeah, we will see at the end of the pit lane which one is the correct line. Heinemann not taking any risks, and he doesn't have to. They're pitting now. Let's check with Hasse. What happened to Bana, by the way, down to P20?
Must have been spun out in one of those contacts that we saw. Florian Hasse through the final corner. Realistically was behind, and Jovski could be ahead through that pit stop, depending on how much time has been cost to Jovski, who's leaving the pit lane now. Oh, that's very, very speedy through that corner. Wait, where's Tim Heinemann?
Oh, there he is. He changed 4 tires.
Yeah, he's come out behind. Yeah, wow.
Interesting call.
Maybe a mistake.
Maybe a mistake indeed. Murphy and Pinchos side by side. And Pinchos is ahead. Oh, come on, camera. There we go. Yes, indeed, Pinchos has passed Murphy. Ooh, Murphy just about holds on.
I think that was a mistake, and potentially a very costly one from Tim Heinemann. I did wonder, because I thought Jovski got moving before he did. Nevertheless, has dropped down the order now. Simone Prater and... I think Prater's in the pit lane, that's why I don't mind. Whoa. But yeah, no, if I was Jack Keighley, I'm going to be leaving this for a fair while. We've got... that's Tim Yarshall, Nestor Garcia in the pit lane as well. Pinches stays out behind, so he's going to move up into second position, as does Eamon Murphy up onto the podium. Mark Gaster staying out also. A few drivers doing their pit stop early. Like you said, you want to keep the axis as close as possible, front and rear. We did see Jovski's changed rear tyres. We saw that in the stop. We saw the rear jacks be punched into the floor and the rear be pushed up. In 17th position, going to move up a handful of positions here through this sequence. And in comparison to Tim
he's
Yarshall,
ahead of
way behind
Garcia.
him.
Garcia lost a lot of time as well.
Yeah. Nestor Garcia did seem a little bit like the cork in the bottle there. I think Jovski's gained a handy amount through that, because he's also not that far off the back of Tim Yarshall.
Certainly a big winner out of all of this. Jovski. And also Florian Hasse. Hasse versus Heinemann. It's gonna be interesting. Hasse scored more points than Heinemann in the first race. And Baldi is right behind Heinemann. Baldi also scored more points than Heinemann. So it's gonna be close.
Also, at least from where I was feeling about it in the last race, between Yarshall and Haase, those two looked like they actually had the strongest cars towards the end of the race. Whether that remains the same here at Hockenheim is a different matter, but those two could potentially have two very strong cars come the checkered flag.
Well, he has caught Heinemann, so I'm wondering, is it really? Keithley's in the pits, Murphy leading now, Finch's also in the pits. Was it really a 4-tire change, or just something that went wrong for Heinemann at the pit stop?
I think
maybe he refueled a little bit or so.
Only one person knows at the moment, Rob, and that is Tim Heinemann. Whatever it was, it's a mistake that may cost him quite a lot here, especially with Gergo Baldi now catching. It seems like he's struggling on speed. Jack
He
Keighley
did not get a drive-through.
It's a good start. Good start. Comes out just behind Luciano Badin.
And look where Pinchos comes out. He's behind Jajowski and Hasse. So that means Jajowski through the pit stops has moved up to third, unless Murphy comes out ahead. But I don't think so, because Murphy was behind Pinchos on the road.
Yeah, also remember that through that pit stops as well, Florian Haase has moved up in the 4th position from 13th on the grid. It's a painful one though for Julian Kinter though, isn't it? 18th at the moment. Of course, already having made his pit stop, but after a bit of contacts and stuff down at Mercedes and whatnot, further down the order than what he needs to be should he wish to qualify. Unfortunately, Florian Haase going to go down the inside of it. Jajowski going to commit to the move as well, and that could be him up to a net 3rd position. Great move. Jajowski did not fight that one too hard.
We'll start our calculations after Murphy has pitted. Because it's still crucial where he is in relation to Heinemann. Jasner as well, I think. Let's see where Murphy is. He's still staying out.
maybe he's just enjoying his time at the front end of the ADAC GT Masters field whilst he can. And to be fair, like on pace, has done a very, very good job. Mark Gassner directly behind. I think when Murphy comes in, he's going to come out sort of around the after Stoffmill and Gassner also pit and Rebiak. I think he's going to be at 9th or 10th through the pit stop sequence, which I think would still be a very healthy result for the Irishman. Passer now ahead of Yovsky. Will Yovsky try? Will he just sit in the slipstream? Maybe just accept his current position and try not drop back any further? The second of those seems the more likely. Like we saw last time out at the Nürburgring, he tried pushing Jack Keithley into a mistake, but didn't really commit to anything too risky. Unlike that move, say for example from Tim Yarshall, either into the hairpin or getting by Nestor Garcia on the first lap. Both of those very high risk manoeuvres, but both worked out realistically in his favour.
This could be a battle for the 5th spot here.
Yeah, Heinemann, Baldi.
Garcia is also in that battle, who's just ahead of Heinemann. Actually in favor of Garcia at the moment, of course.
Mm-hmm.
We need to calculate
Murphy in the pit lane. Gassner stays out. But Stoffmill also stays out.
He has caught up to Carlo Luciano Bedin here. He doesn't have to let him through. It's not a blue flag situation.
They have that rule in DTM where if you were off strategy, you had to have a blue flag to let people pass.
Yeah, but that's because the manufacturers are going nuts there.
Yeah, that was the peak manufacturer.
Well, Murphy's ahead of Heinemann, right alongside Nestor Garcia. I think he will slot in behind him.
Good pit stop for him, Murphy. Ooh, did he give him a little tap? No, I think Nestor Garcia just snapped the rear on his own. So I believe that'll be 6th position actually for Eamon Murphy. Was going to come out a bit lower than that. 6th?
I think it's 7th.
7th, yeah, I think 7th. I can count, don't worry. Luciano Bedin's dropped behind Jack Keithley now.
Murphy's trying to get back past Garcia there.
Oh, trying to really push it is Eamon Murphy. He's confident at the moment. He's looking good.
At the moment, so we've got the updated standings. If we assume that Gassner comes out behind Baldi and Heinemann, but it doesn't really matter because Baldi and Heinemann would both be out at the moment. 26 points for Garcia, who's the 5th one currently qualified. 21 for Baldi, 18 for Heinemann.
Heinemann's lost out a lot through that sequence. From 2nd down to potentially 8th or 9th position, dependent on if Baldi can get by. Not good. This man's gained a lot though. And we said he had quite a lot of work to do after that qualifying session. He's just rolled his sleeves up and got on with it.
Heinemann has passed Murphy.
Murphy make a mistake, I wonder.
Perhaps he got a slowdown in the first corner.
Potentially.
I've seen him run a bit wide there, and they stack up. Like the first one, you basically don't have to give anything back, but the more often you do it, the higher the slowdowns get.
Yeah, very much potentially the case there. Dropping behind Tim Heinemann, so that's more points to the favour of Heinemann, but has to score a few more than that. Moves him from 18 to 19 points.
Yeah, actually, I forgot Murphy in the calculation, so now Heinemann has 18 points.
18 points. Okay, cool.
And Keithley he's passing the cars that haven't pitted yet. That's frustrating.
Incredible. Yeah, but still, even then, it's an incredible drive from Jack Keithley. I know, obviously, the track position is a little bit frustrating, seeing Zrebiak in front, also having to pass Luciano Bedin, and that, like, costing him time. At the same time, he's in such a dominant position. He's got that time, so he doesn't have to risk everything going past. He can just sort of be like, look, it's fine, I can get by my own time, it's all good. 18 minutes into the race, they have to pit before the 10-minute mark. So they've still got plenty of time they can stay out, but nevertheless, I think Alex Luciano Badin's in the pit lane.
So is Mark Gassner, who was leading before. So that's interesting where he's going to come out. Because he might be in that Heinemann, Baldi, Murphy kind of area.
Ooh, just behind, I
Heinemann.
think. Oh no, just in front. In front of
Heinemann.
He's going to be close. Oh, there's going to be contact between the two. Heading through the second corner. Heinemann's putting everything on the line there. And Gassner escorts him off the track. Oh, my goodness me. Oh, Heinemann got escorted off the track, kept his foot in, and kept ahead. So they'll be Keithley going side by side for the lead. We'll keep an eye on this battle between Gassner as they're actually for the correct points. Gassner going to try and go around the outside, heavy on the brakes. That's a little bit too wide. Going to try and get a great run off the corner, which we know he can do in that Porsche. Tim Heinemann making sure that he's got absolutely no room to play with on the exit of that corner. It's very much a pressure cooker behind Heinemann.
Oh, Gassner's going for it.
At Mercedes corner, down the inside. Now going to have the inside for the next one, but I don't think he's going to he's going to be able to stay there. No, the momentum was just not with him. Eamon Murphy now going to get passed, I think, by Gergo Bowdy. He's going to go down the inside of Mobile 1. They're going to go side by side, a little bit of contact, but Gergo Bowdy just giving him enough room. I think that's Gergo Bowdy through. Eamon Murphy saying, no, thank you very much. I'm going to try and keep this at the hairpin at the Sachs curve. Bowdy doing an excellent cutback, reading the situation, and back through indeed. Oh, that's close from Gassner and Heinemann.
Keithley has lost a lot of time with Zarariak there, actually.
It's down to 2 seconds between himself and the
Pinches has passed Jajowski. We completely missed that. Could we have another challenger here?
It's tight, isn't it? 4th position for Adam Pinches. Williams Gym Esports will be much happier with that. Imagine the scenes if a 20-car grid has 5 Williams Esports drivers on it. Of course, we've already got 3 on the grid, courtesy of Kuba Brzezinski, Nikodem Wisniewski and Moritz Lerner. We're looking fairly certain for a 4th, being that of Jack Keithley, the main primary Williams Esports drivers. Adam Pinches having a lot of pressure thrown at him. Eamon Murphy. He tried, bless him. He gave it a good go. I don't feel good for you in your points calculations here, Rob. You've got a lot to do. a lot of numbers to be typing in with this race. How quick it's changing.
Yeah. Brief update there. Keithley 50 points. That, if he doesn't crash, that's an easy pass into the main season. Jajowski second on 31. Then Jarschel 27, Hasse 27, Garcia 26. Baldi on 20, Heinemann on 18, Pinches on 16.
A decent gap then for Garcia back to Baldi at the moment. It must be said.
Yeah, but Garcia is not that far ahead of Heinemann.
No, he is not.
Actually, there's a bit of a gap.
Yes, but 14 minutes to go in the race. That gap can chop and change. It depends on who's battling with who, because if this lot all start battling, they cost themselves time and they drop back towards that lot. If that lot behind start battling, they'll never catch this lot. It's all about weighing up risk and time as a driver. I don't know how much you used to do this in your touring car driving days. I do it all the time. I'm always thinking about who I'm battling with and how much time it's costing me, rather than just the positions that I'm battling for. Because if I don't battle with this guy, we can work together and we can catch that group ahead, and then I can gain even more positions from that battle. Let me work like that.
And of course they will try to calculate, or maybe have a teammate in the chat who will calculate for them what are the current positions. But Jajowski, he certainly must know, after he was second in the first race, a bit of a lag there for Adam Pinches. He should certainly know that he's in a good position for sure. You can see, okay, Jarschel's ahead of me, Hasse is ahead of me. These are all drivers that I beat. Pinches as well. Pinches was nowhere in the first race.
Yeah, I think he knows that it's the top 5 that go through. He was second and now he's 5th. Like, if it's the top 5 that go through, he's still within the top 5 in this race. Of course, it's not a guarantee. Being 5th and 5th doesn't guarantee you a spot. In fact, it's actually not a very good way of securing your way into the final, but it's still possible. Yovsky, in 5th position, knowing that he's got a 2nd position to fall back on, he's had a pretty good round so far. He doesn't need to risk anything too major to get by Adam Pinch at the moment. He could quite happily just be like, look, I'm going to sit here and just let you get on with it. You do laps that are keeping me in front of Garcia, and we're cool. I'm pretty sure he's calculating in his head, even if he doesn't have a race engineer. Although AAA Esports, of course, I'm sure the likes of Risto Kappa or any of that lot might be looking over him. I think AAA Esports used to be Virus, which means he might have. I doubt Nicky Jakovic would still be helping, but you never know.
Yovsky's in a position where he could go for an overtaking attempt. He doesn't do it again.
Missed the apex there with Pinches, and Yovsky decided to try and stop that gap, but not really going for a move of any description. Isaac Shillison moving up to 14th. Still in the race.
That was close.
That was Kirill Antonov. Julian Kunz has gained a position from that as well. That was pretty close as well, yeah. At the top end of the field, by the way, just to give you a rough indication as to the gap between these two, it was 2 seconds, now got up to 2.2. I think Keithley's just controlling things as they stand at the moment. Florian Haase a further 3 seconds behind. Adam Pinches a further 1.5 to 2 seconds behind Florian Haase. So pretty big gaps between this top lot, and I feel those positions are fairly secured. It's the likes of Pinches, Yovsky, Garcia, Heinemann, Gassner, Baldi, that lot, even Murphy. Whether they're going to stay like that towards the end of the race, no idea. The pit stop sequence, as much as everyone has stopped, is about to close. Not that it really matters. It just means we're in the final 10 minutes.
Yeah, and Baldi, actually, he's the only one who can really change something. You know, just maybe in his own power if he gains some positions. But he just can't escape Murphy.
Murphy's been a credible contender in this Hockenheim race, and what can he show at the Sachsenring? Going to go round to the outside as Baldi just chucks it over a bit late, as he is rightfully intended to do. Murphy going to try and stick around the outside, but I don't think he's going to have the momentum there. But it could.
Heinemann and Gassner side by side. Sorry to interrupt you there.
No, up to it. Side by side through the fast kink and into Mercedes. Oh, Gassner's going to go around the outside, but he's going to be on the wrong line. Just didn't carry the momentum off the corner enough. The Mercedes was good at Mercedes. Who'd have thought it?
Oh, Garcia has called Yovsky. Just one incident here could throw everything completely around again.
It's what happened at Zandvoort, wasn't it? There were a few drivers that were ready to qualify, but then only a couple of things changed, and then everything on the standings was on its head.
Yeah, Yovsky is staying out of trouble here. He's keeping calm. But Heinemann and Gassner, we've seen some tension there. Also, meanwhile, has passed Antonov and Gillison.
If Yovsky does have a race engineer, I'm pretty sure that race engineer will be telling him, look, mate, you've got 31 points. You can afford to drop behind Nestor Garcia.
Yeah,
not
when
saying that
when
he
he drops behind Garcia, he's ahead of Heinemann. Is that really better?
No, but there is a gap between of 2 seconds between Garcia and Heinemann. I'm not saying that he will drop behind. I'm saying that if Garcia was to go for a move, just like be calm. You don't need to go for it. Like, just let it happen, because you've got the points buffer. I think that's the important thing to know. That's how you're comfortable in a race, is when you know about the points buffer. That was a little bit close.
Oh, that's Gassner going wide.
I think he's getting a little bit frustrated, sat behind his compatriot.
Got a monster run out of the hairpin as a result.
He's going to dive it. He's going to dive it big style into Mercedes. Contact between the two, and that's Heinemann being escorted off the circuit, but not quite enough for Gassner to take charge. To be fair, rightfully so, because that would have been a bit of an illegal move, shall we say. But Heinemann just able to hang on. ahead of Gassner, ahead of Gergo Baldi.
I don't think Heinemann expected it there, and the best thing he could do is just, you know, close the door and hope that his car stays somehow on the road.
Let's be honest, Tim Heinemann was never going to give a car whip there. There was no way. I mean, if I'm looking at it thinking, I probably would have given a car whip there, there was no way Tim Heinemann would. It was a bold move from Gassner, let's call it that.
Yeah. But that battle, it doesn't matter at the moment if the people ahead don't really make a mistake. If we get Baldi up to P7, so in the position where Heinemann is right now, he gains just 2 points. It puts him on 22, but then he's still 4 points short of Garcia. It's actually Jajowski, Garcia. If something happens there, it could open it up, because when you look at the leaders of the race, nothing's gonna change there. And once again, Baldi looked like he could maybe benefit there, but all he has to do is defend from even Murphy.
Yeah, Murphy just really applying pressure to the 2019 online WTCR Esports champion. And trying to stick it around the outside once again. I don't think he's going to quite make it stick this time. He's got a good drive off the corner, but not quite good enough. Directly behind this as well, Mike Stofffield trying to get involved with the top 10 battle. We stare at the front end of Eamon Murphy's car. There you can see Stofffield go down the inside of Mercedes. That's a good lunge. Not quite
Baldi's
good catch.
That was close for Baldi. That's even less points now that he has.
First race went well. Went good enough for Gergo Baldi with that 4th place finish. The second race not going well enough. And he may have to wait another 2 weeks for the final qualifier, that final attempt. Both races coming from the same circuit, both races coming from the Saxon Ring. It's going to be an exciting one.
And just to summarize it once again, if the results stay as they are, the drivers who qualify would be Jack Keithley, Erhan Jajowski, Tim Jarschel, Royan Hasse and Nestor Garcia. Of course, all provisional, because there might be penalties afterwards.
I think Tim Jarschel would be happy to have done one qualifier and got through. Florian Haase would be happy to get through onto the grid as well, considering his previous run in the online championship last year and the event at the Bodensee. Of course, more of that coming soon. Mark Gassner continuing to try and find a way past. Oh, good drive.
Work.
Good drive off the corner, and that time I think it's just about good enough, and it certainly is. Wow, respect for racing.
For sure, Heinemann's going to counter it here.
He's going to try and commit around the outside of Mercedes, but it's not going to be good enough. The Porsche driver, Mark Gassner, is going to be able to hang on. That was a surprise, if I'm honest. Good stuff, Mark Gassner. Nicely around the outside of the hairpin, but where is Heinemann going to bounce back? 5 minutes to go before the checker flag's out and the race is done. Mobile 1. His first attempt, not really quite close enough, but he's going to dive down the inside of the Sachs curve. Nope, tries to take it around the outside. Side's better of it. There we go. That's nice.
But Gassner was blocking him there, of course, on the apex.
Absolutely.
I don't think Heinemann will let him go here. I think he will try to fight back.
There is no way Heinemann is going to let Gassner go. Not a chance.
Oh, is that Garcia?
Was. Oh, wait. Vega, I think.
That must have been Vega, because Garcia is still going.
Because there was a car in between Jarschel and Keithley earlier. It was a black Porsche, which I'm assuming was that one.
Heinemann has the Murphy problem now. Murphy legitimately quicker here on a race run than Heinemann and Baldi on the same car.
What an impressive drive. Speaking of an underdog, we love a good underdog story.
With the front! There was contact between Pinches and Jajowski. Just stayed as they are. Heinemann goes for the cutback here. Just have to watch this for a moment, because this could actually change who's going to the shootout here if they crash.
Surely Jajowski knows he doesn't need to make anything here. He just needs to sort of sit where he's... But maybe he's just getting a little bit bored of staring at the back of the Mercedes of Adam
Murphy has crashed with Heinemann.
Ugh. That's Heinemann definitely out. It's a shame because it was a good race going for Eamon Murphy. Contact out of Mercedes. Potentially it was a lunge. We saw quite an aggressive lunge from Eamon Murphy into the hairpin. Didn't quite work out. Heinemann got the cutback. And of course that would have given Eamon Murphy a great drive off the hairpin. Gergabowdy here in 8th position has gained from that, but still not in a position to qualify. As you said earlier, he only will gain 2 points from this. And 2 points is not enough. A 5th place and an 8th place is not enough to hold you in the top 5 after 2 races. Staring at Erhan Yovski, still at the back of Adam Pinches. 2.5 minutes to go in this penultimate qualifier. And who is going to be that 5? It could all change with one mistake. And this is the time where you need to grab your opportunities by the horns and actually make them stick. You cannot afford a mistake. One person who's not made a mistake. Oh, looking down the inside maybe. He's going to commit to it. Pinches maybe going to go for a cutback. No, not quite going to work. Yovski's gained the place. Move. Low risk move that. Mike Stoffmeal trying to get by Gergabowdy. Gergabowdy trying to get a good run off the hairpin. I think he might get this one stick. Yovski now having to defend from Adam Pinches, trying to go around the outside of Mercedes. Now going to have the inside heading back onto this this little back stretch, and he's going to make it stick. Yovski drops back in line before Mobile 1. Oh, goodness me, Gergabowdy now trying to hang around the outside, and I think he's going to do so towards Mobile 1. They're side by side now. Stoffmeal's got the advantage into Mobile 1 corner. Gergabowdy drops back in line. Good stuff. Good stuff indeed. So after all that, positions are almost back to normal for the top 5.
Final lap now.
Yeah. As I was going to say in that, the one person who hasn't really made a mistake all day is this man, Jack Keithley. He was so strong in the first race, had to defend from Erhan Yovski, but dealt with the pressure magnificently in this race. Hasn't really dealt with much pressure outside of the first couple of laps. He's pulled away from everyone. And despite the gap being 2 seconds after he cleared the last of the pitters, it's now gone up to 4 seconds between Jack Keithley and Tim Yarshall. An incredible drive from the Englishman, and should net 50 points from the 3rd qualifier and a safe position onto the ADAC GT Masters Esports grid. What's going to happen between these two? Williams Gym Esports of Adam Pinches, AAA Esports of Erhan Yovski. It was a dive into the hairpin that worked for Yovski last time by, but this time he's not committing to it. He's happy with 5th at the moment, you would suspect, but directly behind Nestor Garcia, another driver who has qualified as long as they hold position. No one wants to hold position on the final lap, surely. Come on. If you want to go for it, you go for it. Nestor Garcia trying to go around the outside of Mercedes. A little bit of a kick of oversteer from Erhan Yovski, the Macedonian, pushing for all his worth to stay within the top 5. A 2nd position and a 5th position is a good evening for him after a potential qualifying position in the first of the qualifiers. Struggled in the 2nd, back on form in the 3rd. Towards the front though, I think we're all said and done for 4th position. Let's check up with our leader coming through the final corner. 3rd time lucky, Jack Keithley on top of the ADAC GT Masters here. Both rounds go to him. 50 points and a qualifying position goes to him, to this man, Tim Yarshall, in his first qualifier of the 4. Florian Haase grabs 3rd. Euronics Gaming gets 2 cars potentially into the main grid. Adam Pinches, a valiant effort for 4th position. Erhan Yovski, another one of the qualifiers from this. And Nestor Garcia, 5th. Eamon Murphy recovers to a 10th position, which is a pretty good effort.
Yeah, I think Heinemann and Baldi both quit the server already after they crossed the line.
That
so we have to wait for all the results coming in. But if my calculations are correct, it should be Keithley, Yarshall, Haase, Yovski and Garcia qualifying in the 3rd shootout, of course, all provisional.
Yeah, we'll double check those whilst we spin the wheels after that race. And what an incredible race it was. Keithley. We were talking about it, Rob, weren't we? About how it could be the year of Keithley in the first of the qualifiers. And then those two really went sour. Whereas this one's been a measure of perfection for the Englishman. Tim Yarshall also a very solid job. His first qualifier. Didn't have the greatest first race. Only was 9th in that first race. A lot of work to do. managed to get a second position, which was good enough, 20 points. So now nets 27. Just as a note, not that it's really important, but it shows how crazy the previous round was. There are your finishers: Zujovski, Yarshall, Haase, Pincher, Zujovski, round out that top 5. On how crazy that previous round was that the 20 points that Moritz Lerner scored to qualify, luckily enough, would not have been good enough here. You needed 26 points as far as our calculations go to qualify. So not quite, not quite good enough. So he'll be happy he qualified then, and didn't have to go through this.
A couple of DNFs here as well. Gillison out of the race. Zareviec as well, who's leading briefly. That was quite an exciting shootout, I would say. So we will calculate the provisional results, of course. If you liked what you saw here, make sure to leave a like and maybe subscribe to our YouTube channel, because we've got a lot of interesting content coming up. Of course, the final shootout, the full season, and then also the German RaceRoom Championship, which is starting next Thursday.
Yeah, of course. We've had 6 incredible races here in the qualifier, and that main season when it starts is going to be just as incredible. Of course, as you say, follow us on, subscribe to us on YouTube, give the video a like if you want to see more of this this kind of action, and don't forget as well to follow us over on Facebook at RaceRoom, because that's where you can see all the latest content coming out. Of course, you can also join the Discord. As well, keep up to date, have a chat with everyone in the community, see what community events are going out, because there's plenty of this. It's one of the joys of sim racing, is seeing the community coming together to create some great racing, not only through the official competitions, but of course through various leagues and such, and keeping everything very tasty through all the action. Because there's so many cars in racing to get your hands stuck in on. It doesn't have to just be GTs. You've got Formula 4s, you've got touring cars, you've got all the likes up and down, to create some great racing. Of course, a plenty handful of tracks for you to test your limits on. Leaderboards left, right, and centre. That's where I'm really bad. Is on the leaderboards.
The new leaderboard for GT Masters has just started, so you can try to qualify for the final shootout at Sachsenring. You can just try it out, see how far it takes you, and yeah, why not? I mean, I've seen plenty of surprises here. Maybe you can make it.
Yeah, what do you have to lose? Absolutely nothing. The joy of a free entry leaderboard. Give it a go. Why not? There is absolutely nothing to lose. That's the schedule that we've had. The calendar, of course. We've just finished round 3, Nürburgring Hockenheim. That's what we've just done in 2 weeks' time. The double header at the Sachsenring. Introducing a slightly different formula, of course, because the last ones, when we've been to Oschersleben and Marst, we've been to Rebel Ring and Zandvoort, of course, today, Nürburgring and Hockenheim. We've been to 2 completely different circuits that's worked in the favour of some cars, maybe not so much the others. Next time, though, we go to the Sachsenring for both races, and that's where things could become very interesting indeed, because there isn't that difference between the two, which means your car choice is tailored to only a single circuit with, to be fair, Sachsenring's got an interesting mix of corners, let's be honest. A great circuit. It's not one that we see particularly often outside of RaceRoom, or unless you watch like motorbikes and stuff, you don't really see it too often. Brilliant circuit. Of course, takes place the real ADAC GT Masters and the likes. And there it is. Our standings, provisional standings from the 3rd shootout. You can see those top 5, as we told you earlier: Keithley, Zujovski, Yarshall, Haase, and Garcia. Your provisional qualifiers into the ADAC GT Masters grid. Fantastic stuff. Gogo Bowdy just missing out again, 6th place. I think he was 6th place in the first one as well. Only has one more qualifier now, and that will be in 2 weeks' time. Who is going to be the 5 to join the current 15 that we have?
That will be very interesting. Who expected to have Heinemann and Baldi in the last qualifier? Hopefully we can see Kunze. Hopefully he will find the time to participate. A solid round, but didn't really look like he could qualify. Pinches, though, on the other hand, and Suti, 2 Hungarians, certainly within contention, and Gassner as well. Gassner and Heinemann really, winding each other up there. And then Murphy as well, who was driving with nothing to lose. Murphy could qualify after this performance. We will see.
I would agree with that. Murphy's looking like a potential dark horse for the Sachsenring. Anyway, Nevertheless, we'll see you in 2 weeks' time. That rounds us up here at Hockenheim. Thank you so very much for joining us. Lewis McGlade, Robert Wiesenmüller taking you through all the action. We will see you in 2 weeks' time for that doubleheader at the Saxon Ring.